Chapter 157. After comforting Lin Ying, Li Fan had no choice but to follow the black Bentley. Sure enough, after he got into the car, a beautiful woman was sitting across from him. This woman was none other than the one that he yearned for day and night, the one that he wished he could skin and pull out her bones, Lu Xinan. I haven't seen you for a day, do you miss me? Lu Xinan sat across from Li Fan. Look at your eyes, it's as if you can't wait to eat me. Of course, I miss you so much right now that I can't even fall asleep. When Li Fan spoke, he gritted his teeth. Ayaya, I knew it. This lady's charm is really too big. Sometimes I'm very troubled, but who told this lady to be a natural beauty? I can only slowly get used to it. Li Fan almost vomited blood, thinking that this Lu Xinan was too narcissistic. You're very beautiful. Sometimes when I see you, my heart feels warm. Really? Lu Xinan seemed to be somewhat happy, but Li Fan said, I'm not lying to you, because when I was a child, I lived in the countryside, and my family raised a donkey, which had a very good relationship with me. Later it died, and when I saw you, I thought of it, and couldn't help but recall my warm childhood. Li Fan, I'll go to hell with your uncle. Lu Xinan almost jumped out of the car. If not for the roof, she would have flown into the sky. Your dog's mouth can't spit out ivory. Snake woman, you're too impatient, saying a few words and you want to fly. Li Fan sneered, but haven't you thought about what would happen if you see me? We're all good friends, why should I be afraid to see you? Lu Xinan seemed to think of something, smiled sweetly, and was no longer angry. Good friend? I'm just a little student, how could I become Big Mrs. Friend? I feel like I'm not a friend, but a creditor. That's not right. Lu Xinan raised her eyebrows. Isn't your 60,000 yuan to arrange a trip to Singapore, Malaysia, and Thailand for that old woman? I've already arranged it for you. Your 60,000 yuan isn't even enough for a top-notch trip to Singapore, Malaysia, and Thailand. I'll help you pay for the rest. Who asked us to be friends? I'm just that kind. Lu Xinan, don't play tricks with me. Li Fan raised one of his hands. Seeing his hand, Lu Xinan seemed to subconsciously tremble. You know, if I want to kill you, all I have to do is move a finger. My patience has its limits. Woman, don't try to challenge me. Why are you so excited? You said that I'm impatient, but you're the one who's impatient now. After all, Lu Xinan was a person who had seen the world a few times. She calmed herself down and continued to say to Li Fan, have you forgotten what you said? Pumph. Li Fan snorted coldly and put down his right hand. Lu Xinan was obviously relieved. You want to ask about the Imperial Jade Seal, don't you, Mr. Creditor? Lu Xinan said, you already want to ask me, right? You took my thing but you won't let me ask. Li Fan said sarcastically, do you remember what you said? You said that the Imperial Jade Seal can be left with me. What beautiful words. I was moved at the time. Li Fan, I lied to you about this. Lu Xinan shrugged her shoulders. But if I didn't say that, you wouldn't have given me the Imperial Jade Seal. And if you believe me, I can tell you very bluntly. I myself am not interested in this Imperial Jade Seal. Oh, guess, do I still believe you? I can't help it if you don't believe me, but this is the truth. Lu Xinan didn't seem to force Li Fan to believe her. But if I have a guilty conscience, I naturally dare not come to see you. Since I come to see you, I naturally have the confidence. Since you are not interested, why did you steal it from me? Li Fan asked. Li Fan, you may not know the meaning behind this Imperial Jade Seal. Lu Xinan lowered her voice and her expression became solemn. This heirloom Imperial Jade Seal is of great significance to both the martial arts world and our business and politics. It can be said that as long as it is a sane person, he will want to take it for himself. I understand what you mean. You mean you are not sane. Screw you, I can only be regarded as an exception. Lu Xinan rolled her eyes. This Imperial Jade Seal can only be a hot potato in my hands. If you think I want it, it will be too late for me to push it out. But this thing can't be put in your hands. You have too little experience in Jianghu. It will bring death to both of us. What do you mean? Speak clearly. Okay, then I'll be straightforward. Lu Xinan took out a photo and put it in front of Li Fan. It was the photo of the Imperial Jade Seal. This Imperial Jade Seal is said to hide the treasures of the Great Ming Dynasty. Before Emperor Chongzhen died, he hid all the treasures of the Great Ming Dynasty in it. What you saw in Yamada Kazuo's place is just a drop in the bucket compared to this treasure. What the so exaggerated? Oh, he is just a small Japanese businessman. How can his collection be compared to a big empire? Lu Xinan curled her lips. In his treasure house, only this Imperial Jade Seal can be regarded as the real thing. Most of the other things are imitations and are not worth much. Damn, he was prepared to get it back later. Hearing Lu Xinan's words, Li Fan was somewhat discouraged. But he changed his mind. Could what Lu Xinan said be true? What if she wanted to monopolize the treasure house? No matter what, dealing with this woman was like making a deal with the devil. He needed to be very careful. It's fine if it's just the treasure house. It won't involve you people in Jianghu. Lu Xinan tapped on the photo. Most importantly, there's a book that's said to be the most valuable treasure of the martial arts world in this treasure trove. It's a unique skill called Vairocana Heart Sutra. Vairocana Heart Sutra? Li Fan hesitated. Should he go back and ask Murong Ying? Although I am not in Jianghu, I have heard some rumors. It is said that this secret skill was invented by a strange genius of Jianghu. He relied on this move to defeat the world's invincible people. Moreover, he also cultivated the art of longevity. It is said that the person who cultivates this secret skill can use the true qi to continuously cleanse their bones and marrow. They can maintain their youth and live forever. Nonsense. If it was really so powerful, wouldn't that person still be alive now? How can you believe this kind of Jianghu rumor? The latter part may be a rumor. But it is true that one can be invincible after cultivating this skill. Lu Xinan looked at Li Fan. A martial art that makes people invincible. Li Fan, aren't you interested? Chapter 158. Li Fan was indeed tempted. As a martial artist, how could he not want to be invincible in the world? He wanted to use his martial arts to defeat Murong Ying, Jiang Feng, and that annoying Murong Bo. He wanted to be the strongest martial artist in the world, unparalleled, and dominate the martial arts world. Which man did not have ambition? And Li Fan's ambition had never been small. There was a saying that went, fight the most powerful boss and chase the prettiest girl. This was what it meant to be a winner in life. If not for this, he would not have dragged Huang Lei, Bai Lin Luo, and Guan Wenbao to do something big together. Not to mention you, even I would be very interested if I heard that I could cultivate an invincible divine art. However, this lady knows that once this thing is revealed, it will definitely cause a bloodbath. If we want to obtain this treasure, we need to keep it a secret and cooperate. You mean, you want to cooperate with me to find this treasure and then split it evenly? Li Fan already knew what Lu Xinan meant. Lu Xinan nodded. I have already found a few trustworthy experts to help me analyze this Imperial Jade Seal and decipher the secret of the treasure map. But with just me or my team, I have no way of opening this legendary treasure trove of a dragon's lair. She was very frank. I'm afraid there will be many experts blocking the way. I need you and Guan Wenbao to help me. You mean the Guan family's escort agency? Yes, this can be your first job. Escort a person, that's me. Bring me to the dragon's lair. Then, in addition to a considerable fee, you will also receive the Vairocana Heart Sutra. It sounded like a win-win situation. But when discussing business with Lu Xinan, he would unknowingly suffer losses. I'll be frank, I don't trust you. Li Fan was frank. I understand, but the two of us are in the same boat. Lu Xinan also seemed to be very sincere as she said, and I don't have any foundation in martial arts. Even if you gave me a divine technique, I wouldn't be able to practice it. Therefore, although I am envious of the divine technique, I do not covet it. Li Fan, this lady has seen many people and seen many things. I dare say that you are an ambitious man, and a very, very ambitious one. This opportunity is right in front of you. We worked together to steal the Imperial Jade Seal, and now we're working together to take the treasures inside. Is there anything unfair about this? Although Li Fan was 100% confident in his 7 heroes force, he was still very interested in this so-called invincible divine technique. Maybe there was something in this divine skill that could help his 7 gallant force? Just like the minor phaseless art and the Vajra demon vanquishing art. His 7 heroes force had unlimited possibilities. Snake Scorpion Woman, you've cheated me too many times. Li Fan really found it hard to believe Lu Shinan. It was not an exaggeration to say that she was a poisonous snake. Like I said, we're all in the same boat. This is our only chance. Lu Shinan's eyes flashed. I need to use this opportunity to prove that even if I don't marry that guy, I can still make my family develop better. From Lu Shinan's gaze, Li Fan felt a familiar feeling. At that moment, he seemed to have seen Murong Ying's gaze. Although Lu Shinan had a venomous heart, her personality was similar to Murong Ying's. Both of them wished to be a strong woman. It's just that Murong Ying was a genius and was more domineering. But Lu Shinan was just an ordinary woman. In order to gain the recognition of more people, she needed to pay more. 2 women with the same background, in order to prove themselves, they took 2 completely different paths. All right, then I'll promise you. Li Fan decided to take a gamble. This matter was too attractive to him. It's a pleasure working with you. Lu Shinan's mouth finally revealed a smile. Let's consider this matter finished. Before I leave, I'll come and inform you. After that, you have to fulfill another promise. What promise? Promise? What promise? Li Fan seemed to be forgetful. Lu Shinan curled her lips. You must be doing it on purpose. Don't forget, you still owe me 500,000. You have to help me teach someone a lesson. All right, I've taken someone's money to help them get rid of a calamity. This matter was already promised to Lu Shinan. In order to not owe her anything, Li Fan must do it. All right, your task today is to pretend to be my boyfriend and attend a high-class gathering with me. At the gathering, beat up whoever I tell you to. Oh. Then do I have to dress appropriately? Li Fan asked. No need. The more tattered you wear, the better. The smile on Lu Shinan's mouth looked so evil. Then I understand. To what extent should I beat him? Will he be paralyzed or paralyzed? You'll be responsible for the medical expenses, right? Just beat him until he cries for his mom and dad. Lu Shinan's requirement was not high. However, this miss won't cheat you this time. Let me make it clear to you first. He has an expert by his side. You have to be more careful. Expert? To what extent? Well, just a little more powerful than the average person. Lu Shinan pinched 2 fingers and made a small gesture. That's no problem. Leave it to me. Li Fan laughed. Snake woman, don't worry. I don't dare to say anything else, but I'm very good at living. Screw you. This miss will pick you up at night. Yu Feng, pull over and let him get out. Eh? Aren't you going to send me to school? Don't joke. This isn't a taxi. Fuck. Sending Buddha to the west. You're not Buddha. Goodbye. Lu Shinan really asked Li Fan to get out of the car and drove away in the Bentley. This damned woman. She didn't let him have a good time. The 2 of them were really enemies in their previous lives. What kind of hatred did they have in their previous lives? Ronging was still the best. Although she was a bit overbearing, she still cared about him sometimes. However, the school was not far from here. Li Fan jogged all the way to not be late. As for the heirloom Imperial Jade Seal, he still had to discuss it with Little Four Eyes and the others. Otherwise, he would suffer a loss from this snake woman, Lu Shinan. Just as he ran to the front of the school gate, a black Toyota Prado suddenly rushed out from the alley next to him. Like a beast released from its cage, it rushed towards Li Fan. Although it was daytime, the headlights were terrifyingly bright. It flashed in Li Fan's eyes, causing Li Fan to subconsciously close his eyes. Everything happened in a flash. When Li Fan came to his senses, the black Toyota Prado had already rushed in front of him. The next second, there would be a terrifying intimate contact. Chapter 159. The displacement and horsepower of this Toyota Prado were not low. The instantaneous acceleration was amazing. If it hit Li Fan's body, Li Fan would be crippled even if he didn't die. But the good thing was that Li Fan was a martial artist. Moreover, he was a martial artist who had reached the next level. At the moment when the Toyota Prado kissed Li Fan, the flow of the whole world seemed to slow down. Li Fan instantly entered the state of bear strike and slapped the front of the off-road vehicle. Bang! Li Fan felt a huge force hitting his arm, but his true chi was not to be trifled with. It crazily poured into his palm. Li Fan was like a cannonball. The Vajra subduing magic integrated with the bear strike technique was full of destruction and explosive power. His slap carried a huge amount of true chi and was imprinted on the front of the car. Bear strike, Ursa Major Seal. Boom! The black off-road vehicle was stunned and abruptly stopped there. It couldn't move forward even a millimeter. Then, the body of the off-road vehicle began to fall apart. The wheels flew out. The front of the car was slapped by Li Fan, and then the bumper flew out with a clang. The glass of the car exploded, and the glass fragments flew everywhere. A good off-road vehicle was turned into scrap metal by Li Fan's slap. The engine also began to emit black smoke. The driver inside was a young man in his early 20s. His hair was dyed in a colorful color. He was tightly blocked by the airbag and wrapped in the seat. Are you driving or killing people? Li Fan put down his palm. The web between his thumb and forefinger was slightly trembling, but fortunately, it didn't cause too deep an effect on him. Be careful when driving in the future, idiot. The driver didn't know if he had fainted from the shock. Li Fan was too lazy to care about him. If he dawdled a little more, he would be late. Chang Chuanxi wouldn't believe that he crashed the car. He ran back to the classroom and threw the scrapped off-road vehicle there. After winning the last exam, the school didn't target Li Fan again. The principal was probably brewing some big move. Chang Chuanxi was still critical of Li Fan. As soon as Li Fan entered the door, he scolded Li Fan's hair was too long and didn't look like a student. I have a fast cut now. If I shave it again, I will become bald. Li Fan was the only one who dared to talk back to Chang Chuanxi. Teacher Chang, this is a school, not a prison. Do I have to shave my head to come? Li Fan, don't be stubborn with me. You will regret one day. Chang Chuanxi was also very unhappy in his heart. No matter how he looked at Li Fan, he was unhappy. He was like a needle, piercing his eyes. If he didn't kick him out of the school, the principal would lose confidence in him sooner or later. I must find a way to get rid of this kid. In this school, if there's him, then there's me, then there's him. That. Teacher Chang, can I go to class now? The new beautiful teacher, Liao Wushuang, was still standing at the classroom door. She timidly looked at the dark-faced Chang Chuanxi. Teacher Liao, you came. Please come in. Who is the student on duty today? Why is the podium so dirty? Quickly wipe it for Teacher Liao. And you, go and pour some water for Teacher Liao. What if Teacher Liao is thirsty? Several students were being tossed around by Chang Chuanxi. Liao Wushuang quickly said, No need, no need. This is good. Aya, Teacher Liao, don't be so polite. These students need to be tempered. You're working so hard to teach them. It's only right for them to do something. Li Fan rolled his eyes. This stinky idiot. Tormenting students to please a girl is the first in history. Everyone, don't be busy. Go back. Let's hurry up and go to class. Seeing several students busily cleaning the classroom, Liao Wushuang couldn't bear it and said, You guys hurry up. Can't you see Teacher Liao is waiting anxiously? Really stupid. You can't even do such a simple job. Do you also do this at home? The students swallowed their anger. Liao Wushuang couldn't persuade them anymore. She could only wait for them to clean the blackboard and the podium until it was spotless. After that, she brought hot tea. Only then did Chang Chuanxi reluctantly leave the classroom. Okay, let's go to class. Liao Wushuang's lecture was very serious. Even Li Fan had to admit that she did have a good way of speaking English. She made a boring language class very lively. This Liao Wushuang seemed to have lived abroad before. She would always take out some foreign scenes and imitate them. Teacher Liao, can I ask you a question? Bai Lin Luo's favorite language is English. He couldn't help but raise his hand and ask. Classmate Bai Lin Luo, ask away. Teacher Liao, have you studied abroad before? Little Four pushed his glasses and asked the question in his heart. Your spoken English is very authentic. You speak standard American English. If I didn't know better, I would think you are an American Chinese American. I used to study at Columbia University in the United States. Liao Wushuang somewhat shyly smiled. Really? Teacher, is the life abroad particularly good? Was there a gunfight or something? The students immediately became curious. None of them raised their hands. Instead, they asked one after another. Liao Wushuang somewhat blushed. She said a few words, but it was drowned out by the noise. Shut up! Li Fan suddenly shouted. Are you all crazy? Li Fan's deterrence was 100 times stronger than the class leader. With his voice, no one dared to make a sound. The class immediately quieted down. Liao Wushuang somewhat gratefully looked at Li Fan and then said, Students, I know you are very curious, but you have to answer the questions one by one. Teacher will slowly tell you. She adjusted the frame of her glasses. This action made Little Four very excited. First of all, the United States is not as good as everyone thinks. In contrast, our lunchbox may not be worse than a middle-class family's meal. And speaking of the gunfight problem, this has always been a difficult problem in the United States. In the United States, the best department in the hospital is the gunshot department. But the students exclaimed. Li Fan also couldn't help but ask a question. Teacher Liao, it is said that the United States housing is cheap, much cheaper than China. Is this true? This is true. Liao Wushuang nodded. But when you buy a house, you have to pay the relevant management fees and taxes every month. The better the house, the more expensive these fees. If you lose your job or go bankrupt, the first thing you have to do is move out of the house. This made Li Fan feel enlightened. So, China is already very happy. The most important point, I hope everyone can remember. Liao Wushuang seemed to be serious. Her voice was full of strength. It doesn't mean that you can become happy in any country you emigrate to. A person who doesn't work hard, no matter where he goes, will always be a loser. But if you work hard, no matter where you go, you will shine. Remember, gold will always shine. Chapter 160. Little Four Eyes class is over. What are you doing? Li Fan nudged Bai Lin Luo to wake him up. Bai Lin Luo was still in a daze. No one knew what was going on in his head. Li Fan. I think I might be in love. Little Four Eyes blushed as he lowered his head and muttered. What? Li Fan was stunned. He looked at Bai Lin Luo fearfully. Little Four Eyes, marrying your left hand is against the law, go to hell. You're the one marrying your left hand. I really fell in love with someone. Don't tell me you want to like a beast. Can you be more serious? If you continue like this, I won't talk to you anymore. Bai Lin Luo became arrogant. Li Fan hurriedly pulled him back. Fine. I admit my mistake. Who do you like? I'll help you check. That? I like our teacher. Fuck. Li Fan was shocked. Your taste is too fucking heavy. You won't even let someone like Chang Chuanxi off. That black fatty of his can crush you to death, big brother. Get lost. Bai Lin Luo didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Who would like that ghost? I like our teacher Liao. Oh, that's more like it. Li Fan nodded. Teacher Liao's chest is quite big. I estimated it to be at least 36D. It's quite attractive. You're too dirty. Bai Lin Luo looked at Li Fan with disdain. I admire teacher Liao's standard of English, her pure accent, and her thoughts and awareness. Ah, I understand. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Li Fan chuckled. Even if teacher Liao farted, it would smell good, right? I can't communicate with you anymore. Alright. Since you like it, then boldly pursue it. Li Fan patted Bai Lin Luo's shoulder, but Bai Lin Luo was a little shy. I'm a little embarrassed. After all, he's our teacher. She's only a few years older. Isn't she fine? Li Fan said indifferently. You have to hurry up, Little Four Eyes. It's not easy to find a girl with a childish face and big breasts like her. 2 days ago, Wang Chang was still pestering our teacher Liao, but I scared him away. I wrote a love letter. By Lin Luo awkwardly took out a fragrant letter from his desk. Shit, you sissy. You've already prepared it, yet you're still pretending to be pure. Li Fan snatched the letter and said, "Let young master see what you can write." Bai Lin Luo was not angry and let Li Fan snatch it. But when Li Fan took a look, he was dumbfounded. It was all in English and he could only recognize one or two words. The amount of knowledge was completely beyond his current level. Not bad, little Four Eyes. You're suitable for intelligence work. Li Fan looked at the letter under the light. Who can understand this thing on it? As long as Teacher Liao can understand it, it's fine, Bai Lin Luo muttered. As long as she can understand it, she can understand my feelings, then you send it to her. Li Fan urged, what are you waiting for? You're a man, go on. I'm sorry. Forget it. Bai Lin Luo hurriedly put the love letter back into the desk and ran to the toilet. Li Fan couldn't stop him. This guy, why does he like to go to the toilet when he's nervous? Li Fan said that he would be a matchmaker today. He secretly took out the love letter and stuffed it into Bai Lin Luo's English exercise book. After school, the exercise book would be collected and Liao Wushuang would naturally see little Four Eyes' feelings. I'm really too kind. When Bai Lin Luo came back, Li Fan didn't mention this matter until school was over. All the students put their exercise books and homework on the desk and then packed up and left. The English class representative collected the exercise books one by one. After receiving Bai Lin Luo and Li Fan's exercise books, because there were too many exercise books, both of their exercise books slid down and fell to the ground. A page of letter fell out. The class representative looked at it twice but didn't understand it. He stuffed it back into the exercise book and then took a big stack of exercise books to the office. After school, according to the agreement, Li Fan went to a black Bentley parked not far from the school gate. He specially went to the billiard hall and asked Huang Lei to help him dress up. When Li Fan got in the car, Lu Xinan almost jumped out of the car. Who are you? It's me, Li Fan. Li Fan rolled his eyes. I haven't seen you for a day and you don't recognize me? It's me who doesn't dare to recognize you, okay? Look at what you've become now. Li Fan changed into a camouflage uniform. It wasn't the military uniform but a construction worker's uniform. He wore a camouflage pants and a pair of liberation boots. His upper body was covered in a white singlet, and his hair was messy. Lu Xinan never knew that a person with such short hair could be so messy. The most interesting thing was that there was something drawn on Li Fan's shoulder. Lu Xinan couldn't help but ask, is this Mickey Mouse? What kind of look is that? This is an authentic Timberwolf. Li Fan rolled his eyes again. At first, Huang Lei drew it like a husky. At my request, he changed it to this ferocious look. Isn't it scary? It's hilarious. Lu Xinan covered her mouth. You look like this. Didn't you ask me to do this? All right, it's pretty good. Lu Xinan nodded. Then let's do this. It's not bad to make it look like a gangster. All right then. Snake woman, let's go. Li Fan waved his hand. I'm someone who wants to do big things. I can't accompany you to travel all over the country. It's too much of a waste of time. Go to hell. I just said a few words and you're still breathing. This time, it was Lu Xinan's turn to roll her eyes. Perform well today. If you perform well, I'll reward you with candies. You're at it again. How many times have I told you that I'm not a dog? Li Fan was a little unhappy in his heart. Whoever wants to be your boyfriend in the future is really unlucky. Hee, it's not up to you to worry about it. Lu Xinan giggled and said, don't try to act innocent after getting what you want. What did I take advantage of? Last time I was first. When Lu Xinan said these 3 words, Li Fan was shocked. Fuck, I don't believe it. What's there to not believe? In this a city, who dares to kiss me? Only you have the guts to do so. If my dad finds out, he'll chop you up. You might as well chop me up. Go to hell. I can't be bothered with you. Yufeng, drive. Chapter 161. Since he was already here, Li Fan didn't care where she went. He directly closed his eyes and rested on the back of the chair that was more comfortable than the sofa. This small car was really good. It was more comfortable than the bed at home. Hey, how could there be a bed at home? There was only a rope left. If only he could sleep in such a comfortable place every day. Li Fan, you still have a long way to go. If you don't work hard, how can you have such a comfortable life? Li Fan was dizzy the whole way. He didn't know what he was dreaming about. When he was pushed awake, he found that he had already arrived at a familiar place. In front of him was a luxurious hotel, the Grand Palace Hotel. This was a place that Li Fan had only heard of but had never been to. It was said that the Grand Palace was a gathering place for the rich. Li Fan was a little curious. Was there really an emperor living here? He followed behind Lu Xinan and walked in. This Lu Xinan was also wearing an evening gown today. It was the same color as violet and looked like a fairy. Only Li Fan knew that this woman was actually a devil. Inside, there were beautiful women wearing ancient cheongsams, just like the Gonga in the palace. They bowed to the two of them as if they were relatives of the emperor. Here, as long as you had money, you were the emperor. However, as soon as Li Fan came in, he attracted a lot of attention. After all, Li Fan didn't look like he was attending a party. Instead, he looked like a brick worker, which was out of place here. At first glance, he was dazzling. Lu Xinan didn't care about the surrounding people's gazes. She just led Li Fan in. They went all the way to the banquet hall on the second floor. The decorations inside were magnificent. Those who didn't know would really think that they had come to the ancient emperor's house. Here, which one of them wasn't a member of the upper class of society? Each of them dressed like a dog and communicated with each other with insincere sincerity. There was no real feeling at all. After Lu Xinan entered, naturally, there was no end to the small talk. Although Lu Xinan had a bad heart, her social skills were indeed strong. She could strike up a conversation with a few people with just a few words, and these people also looked at her with awe. Li Fan muttered in his heart, not knowing if it was her or her background that they were in awe of. Nanan, you're here. Just as Li Fan was enjoying the gazes of the people around him, a handsome young man in a suit strode towards Lu Xinan. I've been waiting for you for a long time. Sorry, I was making out with my boyfriend just now, so I was a bit late. Lu Xinan said as she held Li Fan's arm. My boyfriend is quite strong. It's been a little long. I'm really sorry. What the fuck, wasn't this a little too direct? Lu Xinan's battle prowess was simply too strong. Ordinary people wouldn't be able to withstand it. Nan, isn't your eyesight a bit too bad? The handsome young man's gaze fell on Li Fan with a hint of disgust. Even if you like to play, you should have picked someone who's not too bad. This guy, huh? Only I know how good he is. Lu Xinan said sweetly. Anyway, I didn't violate the rules of our two families. Before the age of 22, you don't have the right to stop me from doing whatever I like. But you're still my fiancé. After the age of 22, you'll be my woman. The handsome young man was slightly unkind. You finding such a guy now is really making me lose face. Your face is something that you fought for yourself. What does it have to do with me? Yang Ruining, I'm not your private property. Don't get it wrong. Nanan, you really need to change this temper of yours. Yang Ruining frowned slightly. Randomly finding someone to pretend to be your boyfriend to deceive me. This is not fun. Pretend to deceive you? You're too self-righteous. Lu Xinan said. She hugged Li Fan's neck and directly kissed his lips. This kiss lasted for a long time. When they separated, she even gently bit the corner of Li Fan's mouth. Li Fan cursed, "Damn it, I've been taken advantage of again." But seeing that she didn't apply any knockout powder this time, he didn't care about it anymore. Yang Ruining's frown deepened. As one of the top princes in a city, the woman he fancied, who would dare to act like this in front of him. Speaking of which, he was also a bit unlucky recently. He didn't know why, but his Qian was inexplicably trampled by someone. The guy who was sent to help Wang Chong also crashed his Toyota Prado, and the matter was not settled yet. Perhaps he was out of luck recently. He had to go to the temple to burn incense. However, this kind of man could become his rival in love and pollute his woman. This really made Yang Ruining unhappy. Sir, high position? Yang Ruining looked at Li Fan and coldly asked. What uncle? I don't have an uncle. Li Fan began to pretend to be stupid. It's my fault for talking to someone like you. Yang Ruining looked at Li Fan with even more contempt. With his identity, talking to such a person was really lowering his own status. Dear, don't talk to him. There's something wrong with his heart. Lu Xinan held Li Fan's arm and whispered in his ear, You just need to follow me. Nanan, don't go too far. Yang Ruining frowned even deeper. Today is a high-class party. This kind of person is not qualified to enter. The air is a bit smelly. Tell him to leave quickly. Yang Ruining, he's my friend. Be polite with your words. Lu Xinan went tit for tat. In this world, you're not the only one who smells good. What's more, you don't smell good, you're just a stinky man. Nanan, I'm your fiancé. Be careful when you speak to me. At this moment, Li Fan felt Lu Xinan's hands secretly pinch him. The time had come. This was the signal to beat someone up. Li Fan was a professional person who took people's money to eliminate disasters for them. He immediately shouted, You big idiot, how can you talk to my wife like that? Are you asking for a beating? Li Fan played the role of a hooligan to the fullest. Even Lu Xinan secretly gave Li Fan a thumbs up. Do you know who you're talking to? Yang Ruining looked at Li Fan arrogantly. Li Fan curled his lips. What? Can't I talk to you? You're the president of the country. What an idiot. Standing with you is an insult to my identity. Yang Ruining immediately took a step back, while Li Fan chuckled and took a step forward, sticking to him like a plaster. What? I'm right in front of you. Will you die? Yang Ruining took a step back, and Li Fan took a step forward. Those who didn't know would think that the two of them were doing a cha-cha dance. Lu Xinan held back her laughter. She just wanted to see Yang Ruining make a fool of himself. At this moment, an arm suddenly stretched out from the side and blocked Li Fan's path. Chapter 162. The person who stopped Li Fan was a middle-aged man with slightly white hair. He looked to be in his 50s. Although he had some white hair, his eyes were full of spirit. His temples were bulging. One look and anyone could tell that his inner force was extraordinary. Li Fan muttered in his heart. Didn't they say that he was an expert who was a little stronger than an ordinary person? Did he really look like a little stronger? Was Lu Xinan trying to trick him again? There were too many people who had been tricked by her, too many to count. His heart was beating fast, but Yang Ruining sneered. Uncle Huangfu, I'll leave this idiot to you. Throw him out so that he doesn't dirty this place. Yes, young master. The old man with the surname Huangfu looked like an immortal, but there was a hint of hostility in his eyes. He grabbed Li Fan's shoulder with one hand. He clasped his fingers together and furrowed his brows. This old man was called Huangfu Feng, and he practiced the evil martial art passed down in his family, soul-breaking palm. This soul-breaking palm was extremely sinister, and when complemented with the Ice Heart Sutra, it was even more evil. Therefore, Huangfu Feng was hated in Jianghu and could only come out to be a bodyguard. Yang Ruining was known as the prince of a city. He had a big family and business, so it was not a loss for him to be a bodyguard even if he was called a lackey. Since young Master Yang wanted to throw this young man out, he would naturally do as he was told. In a city, Yang Ruining could kill anyone he wanted in a matter of minutes. His power was only so great. But when his hand grabbed Li Fan's shoulder, he was stunned. This was not the shoulder of an ordinary person. His muscles and bones were pure, and he was protected by earth energy. He was clearly a martial artist. But Li Fan laughed, then suddenly turned around, grabbed Huangfu Feng's arm, threw him over his shoulder, and ruthlessly smashed him to the ground. Huangfu Feng didn't even have time to react and was knocked down. When he turned over and jumped up, Yang Ruining's face had already darkened. He wanted to teach someone a lesson, but he was the one being taught a lesson. He looked at Huangfu Feng coldly. His meaning was clear. I asked you to make a move, but you embarrassed me. Huangfu Feng couldn't hold his face any longer. Everyone was watching. As young Master Yang's bodyguard, he was thrown to the ground like a dog eating shit. This was really shameful. Young Master Yang, he is a martial artist, Huang Fu Feng tried to explain, but Yang Ruining didn't care. Aren't you the expert I invited? This is your so-called expert? Don't worry, young master. I'm stronger than him. He just caught me off guard. Before Huang Fu Feng could finish his explanation, Li Fan suddenly attacked again. This old man's realm was definitely at a higher level, but his inner force strength was at least 7 to 8 tigers. Right now, when he entered the bear cavalry, he only had the strength of 6 tigers. Normally, he only had a little more than 5 tigers. If he wanted to defeat this old man, he had to catch him off guard. While Huang Fu Feng was talking to Yang Ruining, Li Fan's hands were already grabbing his waist from behind. Lazy bear roll. Huang Fu Feng felt as if his body was riding on the clouds again. He was thrown backward by Li Fan and fell flat on his face again. Huang Fu Feng was furious. As a famous martial artist in Jianghu, he had actually been fooled by a local rascal twice today. Blocking the eyes of so many guests, how could he and Yang Ruining put their faces? Brat, you are forcing me. Today, I am going to start a massacre. Huang Fu Feng was still an expert. Although he was thrown to the ground by Li Fan twice, he only suffered some flesh wounds. He quickly climbed up with a sinister expression. He sent a soul-severing palm towards Li Fan. This absolute soul palm was an insidious technique that was used to help him cultivate the Ice Heart Sutra. If it landed on a person's body, not only would it cause serious internal injuries, it would also slowly freeze the person's meridians, causing irreversible damage. Ice Heart Sutra. When Li Fan saw Huang Fu Feng's palm emitting a bone-chilling aura, he subconsciously thought of Murong's favorite ice palm. Murong Ing was not willing to mention this ice palm because it was an evil technique. She would not believe that her own sister would practice this evil technique. Looking at Huang Fu Feng's palm, Li Fan knew that he could not face it head-on. He immediately entered the state of snake strike and used his arm to lock Huang Fu Feng's arm. Then he used his 5 fingers to attack Huang Fu Feng's throat. However, Huang Fu Feng's title as an expert was not for nothing. He immediately stretched out his right hand to protect his throat. Puff! Li Fan's fingers hit Huang Fu Feng's palm, but it did not cause any fatal damage. Even so, Huang Fu Feng still took 3 steps back. His eyes were filled with shock. What kind of technique is this? For you? I am her boyfriend. Li Fan chuckled and then turned around to kick Huang Fu Feng's face. Li Fan's attack was fast and fierce, but it was just a test. Huang Fu Feng took a step back and dodged Li Fan's kick. At the same time, he used his palm to hit Li Fan's calf. Sure enough, this man was an expert in hand techniques. Li Fan retracted his calf at lightning speed, dodging Huang Fu Feng's big palm print. At the same time, he lowered his body and kicked Huang Fu Feng's calf. Sweeping kick was the most effective way to deal with people with unstable lower body. Sure enough, Li Fan's kick caused Huang Fu Feng to stagger. At the same time, Li Fan's palm fiercely hit Huang Fu Feng's chest with his elbow and then his palm hit Huang Fu Feng's chin. Tiger Strike. Black Tiger Fierce Mountain Climb. This was the unique technique of Tiger Strike. Huang Fu Feng spat out a mouthful of blood and suffered some internal injuries. Brat, I'm going to kill you. Huang Fu Feng's eyes were red. He stabilized his body and forcibly suppressed his internal injuries. Then he used his hands to repeatedly hit Li Fan and attacked Li Fan like a mad dog. If Li Fan hadn't made this old man anxious from the beginning, it would have been difficult for him to deal with him. But since he had turned into a mad dog, Li Fan wasn't afraid of him. When a martial artist fought, even if his body was in a crazy state, his mind must remain calm. Every movement was the body's most instinctive reaction, but every move was analyzed by the brain. Huang Fu Feng's attacks were like a storm, but none of them were able to hurt Li Fan. Li Fan suddenly began to counterattack. Every time Huang Fu Feng attacked, he would use Spirit Snake to lock his opponent's attack and then hit Huang Fu Feng's vital points with his palm. The throat was too easy to defend. This time, Li Fan chose to attack other places, but every time he attacked, he would hit Huang Fu Feng's vital points with more and more force. Huang Fu Feng's attacks not only failed to hurt Li Fan, but also brought fatal blows to himself. After 3 moves, he spat out a mouthful of blood. Chapter 163. After all, Li Fan has the strength of 5 tigers. Even if Huang Fufeng has a few more tigers, his body is not made of iron. Moreover, he does not have the small phaseless magic art's super strong defense. These few attacks finally made him vomit blood. Huang Fufeng has been suppressing his internal injuries, but these few moves have caused him a lot of injuries. Huang Fufeng probably did not expect that he would be in such a passive situation in the blink of an eye, even though he is obviously stronger. Yang Ruining is looking at him from behind. He must be very disappointed with his current performance. If he does not make a comeback, he is afraid that he will be kicked out of Yang Ruining's side. If he leaves a rich man like Yang Ruining, it will be difficult for him to find such a good job. Huang Fufeng is used to being a tyrant. He is also a spendthrift. He must keep this job. Brat, you forced me to do this, Huang Fufeng said. He suddenly opened his arms and took a deep breath. His stomach suddenly swelled up. In the blink of an eye, he turned into a round fat man. However, Li Fan did not dare to be negligent. He knew that Huang Fufeng took a deep breath of Dantian Qi. He must know some method to make the Dantian Qi flow more fiercely. Huang Fufeng's stomach suddenly became so big that the surrounding guests were all surprised. This is the first time they have seen a fight between experts. However, they know that this is a matter between Yang Ruining and Lu Xineng. Both of them are the tyrants of a city. No one wants to offend them. Therefore, they just stood at the side and watched the show. Secret Manual, Kunlun Grand Palm Print. Huang Fufeng stood there. Both of his hands suddenly shot out a grand palm print towards Li Fan. He was like a machine gun on a fortress, and the wind from his palms slapped toward Li Fan's head and face. Li Fan did not dare to be negligent. He took a few steps to the side. This grand palm print flew in all directions and hit the table beside Li Fan. The plates and food on the table exploded. This Mahamudra Kung Fu was quite powerful. It could use palm winds to injure people from a distance. However, Huang Fufeng had already lost his composure. Li Fan suddenly stopped and placed his left hand behind his back while his right hand was in front of him. Using the red-crowned crane wings, his right hand continuously slapped away the incoming palm imprints. Bang, bang, bang. None of the giant handprints were able to hit Li Fan. They were all sent flying by him with a single hand. Weak too weak. Li Fan laughed as he defended, "What kind of expert are you? You can't even beat a little rascal like me. You'd better go home and farm." Anger attacked his heart again. Huang Fufeng's anger had reached its peak. This small flame was like adding oil to the fire, burning more and more fiercely. It was simply impossible to stop. Huang Fufeng suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood. It was obvious that the qi had invaded his heart and lungs. His eyes turned red, and he clasped his hands together. A powerful Mahamudra slapped toward Li Fan through the air. Destroy heaven and earth. The powerful palm wind rushed towards him. This time, he would not be able to block it with one hand. However, Li Fan was not afraid. Although this was Huang Fufeng's ultimate move, he had lost his composure, causing the move to be full of loopholes. Inhale, Li Fan also took a deep breath. His eyes suddenly became spirited and his temples suddenly bulged. Swallow. Heavens! This was the only special stance that Li Fan had. At this time, he had mobilized 200% of his true qi for his own use. Under the heaven-swallowing toad stance, Li Fan could freely use the other moves of the 7 hero fists. Moreover, it was the strengthened version. True white crane nod. Li Fan's right hand trembled as he clasped his 5 fingers together and fiercely struck out. The true qi followed his movements and unexpectedly condensed into a hazy crane head. The sharp crane beak instantly hit the opponent's palm wind. Using a point to hit the face, Li Fan won. The huge palm wind directly collapsed and Li Fan chased after it again. True black tiger steel's heart. His left hand clawed out and condensed true qi into a tiger claw. In a flash, it hit Huang Fufeng's chest and pierced 5 deep bloody holes. Put. Huang Fufeng quickly used both of his hands to seal several acupuncture points on his body to stop the bleeding. Li Fan's series of attacks only took 2 or 3 moves to once again flatten him. Right now, he did not dare to forcefully circulate his true qi. Once he circulates his true qi, he will not be able to stop the bleeding in his chest and can only die. Although money is good, life is more important. Yang Ruining angrily flung his sleeves. His expression was cold as he turned around to leave. Brother, we still haven't settled the debt between us, Li Fan said as he pulled Yang Ruining over and directly used a cannon fist on his eyes. This Li Fan can be considered as being lenient. Against ordinary people, he will not kill them. But Yang Ruining still got a panda eye and screamed miserably. You dare to hit me? You actually dare to hit me? So what if I hit you? Are you going to bite me? Li Fan gave Yang Ruining a middle finger. This kind of person, he does not know why, but he hates this kind of person from the bottom of his heart. In the past, he always thought that rich people like Murong-ing are especially evil. But since he met Lu Xinan, he felt that Murong-ing is as good as a fairy. But after meeting Yang Ruining, he felt that Lu Xinan is especially obedient. Young Master! Young Master Yang! A group of bodyguards rushed over. One of them even took out a gun and pointed it at Li Fan. Yang Ruining is also not stupid. He pressed that person's wrist and made him put away the gun. Nanan, this time I will not take this beating for nothing. Aya, young Master Yang, isn't it just being hit by someone? Is there a need to have such a big reaction? Lu Xinan laughed. You really don't have any manliness. How are you going to be someone else's husband in the future? In a city, no one dares to hit me. Yang Ruining's voice was filled with killing intent. Then his gaze landed on Li Fan. Remember, you have provoked someone you shouldn't have. Li Fan rolled his eyes. Does this brother think that he is Yi Liangchen? Yang Ruining covered his eyes and walked away. While Lu Xinan said in Li Fan's ear, Don't worry, it's fine. He doesn't know you, and he can't find out your identity. My mission is completed. We don't owe each other anything now. Li Fan asked. Yes, we don't owe each other anything. But don't forget that we still have a cooperation. I won't forget. A man's words cannot be taken back. Li Fan nodded. This banquet was no longer interesting, so he left with Lu Xinan. However, Yang Ruining did not forget about this matter. At this moment, he was sitting in a private room, losing his temper. As a great expert, Huang Fufeng could only stand to the side while trembling, not daring to even breathe loudly. Expert, you're cursing next door. The self-proclaimed elegant Yang Ruining also started to curse. Huang Fufeng, you're a dog shit expert. Chapter 164. Young Master, my skill is not as good as others. Huang Fufeng lowered his head with a pale complexion. With his body full of injuries, he was not in a good condition. However, I have a martial sister. Her skill is better than mine. Your martial sister? How good can she be? Yang Ruining could not trust this Huang Fufeng at all. Young Master, my martial sister is different from me. She is a direct disciple of the Ice Sect. Her Ice Heart Sutra is much better than mine. The people of the Jianghu even gave her a nickname, Ice Poison Fairy Shenmengjie. Ice Poison Fairy? Why does it sound so weird? Yang Ruining frowned. Those who can get a nickname in the Jianghu are not ordinary experts. Huang Fufeng hurriedly explained, Young Master, I recommended her to you. I guarantee she is not bad. If you don't believe me, I can ask my martial sister to come out and let you see her skill. Good, if she is qualified, I can spare you this time. Yang Ruining thought of that Li Fan and his stomach was filled with anger. Xiao Tang, find someone to investigate who that hoodlum is. Young Master, don't worry, I have already arranged someone to take care of him. A youth with a face full of pimples beside Yang Ruining immediately said, He is an expert in our vanguard army. If he offends Young Master's people, I will not let him off so easily. Oh, what if he injures Nanan? Yang Ruining frowned slightly. Young Master, don't worry, we brothers have a sense of propriety. We will absolutely not injure young madam. We brothers were personally trained by Young Master. We guarantee that we will not let Young Master down. That's good. In any case, I don't know about this matter. I am tired. I need to sleep for a while. Okay, Young Master, You can rest now. This Xiao Tang's name is Tang Saiqiang, Yang Ruining's confidant. Although his brain is good, he has a very abnormal hobby, which is to fuck cats. He has more than 10 female cats in his house, each of which has suffered from his inhumane venting. It is said that this habit of his was caused by his former girlfriend. Tang Saiqiang had a girlfriend who was very fond of cats. At that time, Tang Saiqiang had yet to follow Yang Ruining and was penniless. Later on, a pet shop owner gave his ex-girlfriend a Persian cat worth more than 10,000 yuan, and conveniently abducted his ex-girlfriend. From then on, Tang Saiqiang embarked on this perverted path of no return. It was said that when Tang Saiqiang saw a beautiful wild cat on the road, his eyes turned green. Now, he had no interest in women at all. When he saw a cat, he could not restrain his animal nature. Yang Ruining also knew about his bad habit, but as long as it didn't affect his work, he didn't care about it. He even gave him a purebred Bengal cat, which made Tang Saiqiang more loyal to Yang Ruining. However, he was indeed very smart. Otherwise, he wouldn't have become Yang Ruining's confidant. In Tang Saiqiang's words, fuck a cat after a meal, even the gods will bend over. At this moment, Li Fan and Lu Xinan had arrived at the parking lot. The hotel's underground parking lot was also very large, with a total of 3 floors. Lu Xinan called Yu Feng, but the other party's phone was turned off. It was probably because the signal in the underground parking lot was too bad. This Yu Feng, where did he park the car? Lu Xinan angrily shoved her phone back into her bag and couldn't help but lift her feet one after another. This pair of 15 centimeters high heels, no one could stand it. Li Fan muttered in his heart, this thing is even harder than practicing martial arts. Carry me. Lu Xinan suddenly ordered Li Fan. Big miss, why don't you go to heaven? Li Fan's eyes rolled to the sky. Why should I carry you? You're not my mother. No matter what, I'm still your employer. That's in the past. What about the cooperation? That's in the future. Li Fan shrugged his shoulders. In short, I don't have any obligation to carry you. Li Fan, how can you be like this? Don't you have any gentlemanly demeanor? Lu Xinan angrily said, be like a man, okay? Yes, be like a man and keep your word. Li Fan nodded. I said I won't carry you, so I won't carry you. You can go to hell. Lu Xinan was furious. Why would any woman like you when you're like this? You're gravely mistaken. Li Fan proudly said, I'm a man with a beautiful fiancée at home. Beautiful? How beautiful can she be? Is she as beautiful as me? Lu Xinan curled her lips, while Li Fan looked up and down at Lu Xinan. You don't say, in terms of appearance, the two of you are indeed equal. Li Fan very seriously said, perhaps, you're a little bit better looking than her. Humph, humph, that's incredible. This Mrs. Beauty is unparalleled in the world. Lu Xinan proudly said. But her chest is bigger than yours, you can't compare. Go to hell. Go to hell. Lu Xinan was about to flip out, but Li Fan was not in a hurry, looking quite leisurely. Okay, look at you, saying a few words of truth and you're already angry. Fine, 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 your chest is big enough to suffocate a person to death, okay? Get lost. You see, you're not happy when I praise you. Li Fan helplessly said, then I have no other choice. Let's break the jar and say God's day. Who wants to say God's day? Dream on. Lu Xinan rolled her eyes at Li Fan. Before the mission is completed, you can't get rid of me. So troublesome. Li Fan sighed, which made Lu Xinan even angrier. I'm a beauty, but he actually finds it annoying to follow him. This is really unreasonable. Is there something wrong with this man's head? How about this? You stay here, I'll go find Yu Feng, and the two of us will come to pick you up. Is that okay? Li Fan really didn't want to be ordered around by Lu Xinan, so he thought of a compromise. I don't want you to carry me. Lu Xinan's temper flared up. You think I can't subdue a mere Li Fan? Woman, will you die if you don't torment others? Li Fan felt that this young miss was too willful, wanting him to carry her. In any case, I want you to carry me. As a man, you should have the most basic respect for women. Lu Xinan scolded Li Fan, Don't you know how to make a girl happy? Of course I know, but you're not a girl. How is this old lady not a girl? How can a flat chest be a girl? I've always treated you as a brother. If I had a pistol, you'd be dead at this moment. Lu Xinan was about to get angry, and Li Fan was about to add fuel to the fire, but at this time, white vans suddenly drove over from the parking lot, surrounding them in the center. Chapter 165. These vans all turned on their headlights and formed a circle around Li Fan and Lu Xinan. Crash! The doors of these vans were pulled open and a group of people wearing black coats and masks jumped out. Each of these people was holding a tri-edge bayonet in their hands. The blade was somewhat dazzling under the light. Each of them was well trained. In the blink of an eye, they surrounded Li Fan and the others. Who are you people? What do you want? Lu Xinan was the daughter of a city's underworld. How could she be scared by such a scene? The moment she saw these people, she already knew who sent them. Yang Ruining, this guy actually dared to play dirty. But even if she asked him, he would never admit it. It's none of your business. Get out of the way. A man wearing a red mask scolded. Without any hesitation, without any nonsense, he directly waved his hand. These thugs immediately carried their bayonets and walked toward Li Fan. So funny. Looking at these thugs who were like wolves and tigers, Li Fan's mouth revealed a trace of a smile. His current kung fu, could these ordinary people understand? Snake woman, cover your ears. Li Fan said lazily. Oh. Without any hesitation, Lu Xinan covered her ears with both hands. Li Fan immediately shouted, "Fierce tiger roar." His true chi spread out along with the sound, shaking the parking lot on this floor. Bang bang bang. The windows of all the cars on this floor were shattered. The car alarms were ringing non-stop. And those thugs with bayonets couldn't bear it at all. How could an ordinary human body withstand this demonic sound filled with true chi? My ears. I can't hear anything. These people covered their ears, squatted on the ground, and screamed. Many of the overhead lights were also shattered, and the lights in the parking lot flickered, making it look like a ghost movie. Although Lu Xinan was covering her ears, she was not feeling well either. Her head was buzzing, and Li Fan's body in front of her kept flashing and overlapping. The effect of Li Fan's move was also very obvious. With so many thugs, none of them could get up. The lightest one had a concussion, and the more serious ones had nosebleeds. Young Master Yang might be underestimating me. Li Fan had his hands in his pants, his pair of liberation shoes rubbing against the ground. There's no expert here either. It's really too boring. Just as Li Fan finished speaking, a person slowly approached from the distance of the parking lot. It was a man in a white suit. As the saying goes, a man is white from head to toe. If he's not a pervert, then he's gay. This man was handsome, so pretty that he looked like a woman. He even tied his hair into a ponytail and had an ear stud, as if he was afraid others wouldn't know how effeminate he was. This man was wearing black pointed leather shoes, and the heels seemed to be made of horseshoes. Every step he took made a clicking sound. Those who knew would think that it was a sissy, but those who didn't know would think that it was a horse. That man seemed to be very casual, swaying as he walked, like a pendulum clock, giving off an indecent feeling. This guy, even if he's gay, he's not a good gay. As Li Fan was muttering, that man in a white suit slowly walked over, stood in front of Li Fan, and looked at him with a smile that was not a smile. Who is it? Li Fan knew that this person did not come with good intentions. This was definitely a martial arts practitioner. Although his walk looked crooked, each step was very solid. With one look, one could tell that he was a martial arts practitioner for many years. His martial arts were very stable. So you're Li Fan. The man in white looked at Li Fan, and then looked up and down for a long time. Why are you like this? This is too disappointing. Fuck, do you have the right to say that about me? You pervert. Li Fan couldn't help but jump. Look at you, you're dressed like a sissy, why don't you take a good look at yourself? Not at all. The white-clothed man said with a beaming smile, only a man like me is qualified to wear such a set of clothes, understand? This person might be mentally ill, overly narcissistic. Li Fan said to Lu Xinan, who had already stood up with the support of a pillar, "Snake woman, hide to the side, lest you get infected by his narcissism." "Hey, wait, it seems like you're also quite sick." "Forget it, you don't need to hide, I'll go hide." It's not that Lu Xinan didn't want to talk back, but she really couldn't hear what Li Fan said, and there was still some buzzing in her ears. The demonic sound that Li Fan made just now was really scary. "Li Fan, tell me, what are your last words?" The man in front of him crossed his arms, looked at Li Fan with some pride. "To die in my hands, consider it your honor." "Fuck, who do you think you are? Since you sincerely asked for my name, then I'll be generous and tell you." "Fuck, I didn't ask." "Listen carefully, this old Taoist will never change his name, nor my surname, Yen Kai of the Genie Guard." With that, he lifted his hand from his waist, revealing a jade pendant. Li Fan thought to himself, everyone else has a black waist tag, but this guy got a piece of beautiful jade. This fucking narcissism has reached a certain level. His heart has definitely begun to distort. How can the Genie Guard be this kind of retard? Li Fan doesn't know whether to laugh or cry. "Can you guys take your medicine first?" "What, hearing my famous name, are you scared?" Yen Kai's mouth hangs a smile. "If you kneel down and admit your mistake, I can spare your life and only cripple your hands and feet. Aren't you grateful to me? There's nothing I can do. Who asked me to be a soft-hearted person?" "Brother, I feel that you're a bit like a retard." Li Fan very seriously said, "Your Genie Guard don't have any normal people? It seems that you don't believe in my strength." Yen Kai hooks his finger at Li Fan. Come, I'll let you have 3 moves." "Okay, remember what you said." Li Fan won't be polite with him. He directly flies forward and directly uses the most straightforward Black Tiger Steel's heart to test this Yen Kai's strength. Yen Kai just smiles, stands there, only stretches out his right hand, suddenly grabs Li Fan's wrist, and then uses the force to pull back. Li Fan didn't catch Yen Kai, but he clawed at the pillar next to him, digging a hole in the cement pillar. He is a bit surprised. "What kind of move is this?" "I forgot to tell you." Yen Kai's white jade-like face hangs an arrogant smile. "Before I became a Genie Guard, I was the eldest disciple of Wudang Mountain." Fuck, Li Fan's heart trembles. Could this be the inner Tai Chi? Chapter 166. Murong Ing had mentioned to him that there was a martial art called Tai Chi in the martial arts world. However, those old men and old ladies practiced it as outer Tai Chi, while the real experts practiced it as inner Tai Chi. Inner Tai Chi martial arts relied on internal energy as a foundation. The man in front of him, Yen Kai, had a profound Tai Chi skill. With a Tai Chi cloud hand, he diverted Li Fan's strength to one side, causing Li Fan to be stunned. "I can handle you with one hand," Yen Kai boasted. His confidence made Li Fan feel very annoyed. People should be confident, but overconfidence would make them a pervert. Li Fan kicked out with one leg, aiming straight for Yen Kai's cheek. However, Yen Kai still extended his hand and placed it on Li Fan's ankle, then pulled. Li Fan's ankle was grabbed. Basically, he followed his own strength and took a big step. If it wasn't for Li Fan's flexible body, the muscles in his leg would definitely be strained. This was the first time he fought with a Tai Chi expert, so Li Fan was a little unskilled and suffered 2 losses in a row. "It seems that you can't even beat one of my hands. To actually send me to deal with you, it's really a waste of talent." Yen Kai was very impatient. "It's a waste of talent." However, at this moment, Li Fan suddenly used a simple Black Tiger Steel's heart, aiming straight for Yen Kai's chest. "Still don't know your lesson?" Yen Kai curled his lips and swung his ponytail. Then he wanted to grab Li Fan's wrist. However, at this moment, Li Fan's wrist suddenly shook, and he used his arm to lock Yen Kai's arm. Yen Kai was a little surprised, but Li Fan's 5 fingers were like the fangs of a venomous snake, biting down. However, Yen Kai was, after all, an expert. His neck was also covered with a stream of true qi. This true qi deflected Li Fan's attack and neutralized most of the force. Yen Kai coughed twice and pushed Li Fan away. He took 2 steps back and rubbed his neck. "What kung fu is this?" Dog-beating divine art. Li Fan said very seriously. How dare you humiliate me? Humiliating a handsome man is a crime, you know? Yan Kai seemed a little unhappy. You're right, so I'm not guilty at all. Li Fan flashed his middle finger at Yan Kai. Because you're not a handsome guy. At most, you're a beautiful ladyboy. I'm angry. Yan Kai lost his temper. I only wanted to cripple you, but now I want to kill you. Li Fan rolled his eyes and thought to himself, do you think I should thank you? Yan Kai, this egomaniac. Tai Chi cloud hand. Yan Kai took a good posture. This fellow no longer used one hand to act cool. He used both of his hands and leaped towards Li Fan. Tai Chi had always been a defensive attack. Now that Yan Kai actually took the initiative to attack, this made Li Fan somewhat surprised. Yan Kai just used an ordinary palm to slap Li Fan. Li Fan lowered his body and dodged Yan Kai's palm. This palm landed on the SUV next to him, flattening a piece of the SUV's door. The power of this palm was definitely not light. Inner Tai Chi also had such a powerful destructive power. This opened up Li Fan's eyes. However, he did not expect that the real inner Tai Chi performance was yet to come. Yan Kai's palm actually sucked the SUV. With a shake of his arm, the SUV smashed down towards Li Fan's head. Fuck tofu. Li Fan lay on the ground, shook his arms, and entered the posture of the toad strike. He slid back more than 5 meters on the ground, avoiding the SUV. Bang! The SUV heavily smashed into the ground. The car was in a mess and the parts kept falling to the ground. When the owner of the car saw his beloved car in such a state, he would probably cry. Bang! With another heavy sound, Yan Kai's palm changed from suction to force. The SUV turned into a cannonball and shot straight at Li Fan. Li Fan entered the deer strike technique stance and turned around to kick the SUV that shot over. Under the state of the deer strike technique, Li Fan's leg strength greatly increased. This kick immediately sent the SUV flying backwards. As for Yan Kai, he leaped over and slapped Li Fan's forehead with his palm. However, Li Fan extended his hands and grabbed Yan Kai's wrist, forcefully locking his attack. Yan Kai frowned. As for Li Fan, he twisted his body and kicked out with both feet. In midair, he kicked Yan Kai's body one after another, causing Yan Kai's body to erupt with waves of energy. After a series of 9 kicks, Li Fan kicked Yan Kai's chest and the two of them separated in midair. Yan Kai landed on the ground and took 3 steps back. Finally, he reached out to hold on to a small car to stabilize his body. However, Li Fan shook his right leg. The leg technique of the deer strike technique was powerful and its attack power was twice that of a fist technique. Each of the 9 kicks was like a cannonball, causing Yan Kai to suffer some internal injuries. You have some skills. As Yan Kai spoke, he took out a small mirror and a comb from his chest and began to tidy his hair. In that case, there's no need for me to show mercy. I spent 50 yuan on my hairstyle. Yan Kai tidied up his hairstyle with heartache. Li Fan was a bit speechless. Was this the time to care about personal image? Look at my fringe, is it tidy? Yan Kai kept asking Li Fan. Li Fan couldn't help but scold. Fuck you. Have you ever seen an enemy give you an aesthetic? The two of us are fighting, not shopping for clothes, okay? You really don't have any taste. Yan Kai rolled his eyes. Compared to fighting, hairstyle is more important. Have you ever heard of this saying, blood can flow, head can be cut, but hair cannot be messed up? What the hell is all this nonsense? Wouldn't it not be messed up if you cut your bald head? A man without taste is not on the same level as me. Yan Kai somewhat disdainfully rolled his eyes at Li Fan. Fighting with you is really a disgrace to my taste. Are all of you genie guards chatterboxes? Li Fan couldn't help but ridicule. Every one of you is so annoying. Then let me accompany you for a serious fight. Yan Kai said as he stretched out his hands and stood in the middle of the parking lot. The power of inner Tai Chi burst out. The surrounding cars actually slowly flew up and then began to revolve around Yan Kai and Li Fan. Fuck, what the hell is this? Li Fan felt this inexplicable power. It was like a magnetic field. When inner Tai Chi was trained to a certain level, it could actually achieve such an effect. Domineering. Even Li Fan couldn't help but admire this Yen Kai. This Yen Kai really has some ability. Yen Kai waved his hand and the surrounding cars all came crashing down on Li Fan's head. Chapter 167. All of a sudden, with so many cars falling towards Li Fan felt a little numb. But he couldn't admit defeat just like that. So what if it was inner Tai Chi? His 7-hero fist wouldn't lose to anyone. Li Dan immediately took a deep breath, clasped his hands together, and gathered his true chi in his body. But one breath wasn't enough. Li Fan took another deep breath, and at that moment, Yen Kai felt suffocated. Just like that, it was as if Li Fan had sucked all the oxygen out of the parking lot. Swallow. Gut. To. Yen Kai was an expert, so Li Fan had to use all his strength to deal with him. He stretched out his hands and continuously struck at the cars in front of him. True, Ursa Major Seal. Every time Li Fan struck out with his palm, a huge black bear seemed to appear in the air. His palm landed on the cars, causing them to be dented one by one. In the sky-swallowing toad state, Li Fan used his true chi to the extreme and displayed the demeanor of an expert. Yen Kai frowned, and with a clap of his hands, the remaining 3 cars smashed towards Li Fan. But Li Fan clasped his hands together, and his true chi sank into his dantian. Lu Shinan, who was behind him, felt the sense of suffocation. At the same time, a huge toad condensed from true chi appeared in front of Li Fan. This toad followed the movements of Li Fan's hands and spat out a white pearl. True, golden toad spitting pearl. This huge ball of chi flew out and hit the 3 cars. Bang! The 3 cars were sent flying and scattered to the side. Yen Kai looked at the 3 cars and was a little surprised. What kind of martial art is this? Why does it feel like little phaseless magic? He found it strange. It shouldn't be. In today's martial arts world, shouldn't only the embroidered uniform guards know little phaseless magic? The world is big and there are many strange things. Li Fan stretched out his hands and assumed the starting stance of the 7 heroes fist. Remember, this fist technique of mine is called the 7 heroes fist. You don't look like much, but you sure talk big. Yen Kai curled his lips. Calling yourself a hero, aren't you afraid of being laughed at? Aren't you a little too narcissistic? Fuck, are you qualified to say that? Since that's the case, it's time for me to show some of my true skills. Yen Kai said as he touched his waistband with one hand. Then, he pulled out his waistband and held it in his hand. Fuck, what are you doing? Li Fan was shocked and subconsciously took a step back. Yen Kai grabbed the waist of his trousers with his left hand and the belt with his right. With a shake of his hand, the belt suddenly hardened like an iron ruler in his hand. Ignorant. This is called true chi concentration. Yen Kai rolled his eyes at Li Fan. It's too inconvenient to carry a sword around in modern society. With this belt in hand, my Taiji sword can be unsheathed at any time. Then what is your left hand doing? Why are you holding the waist of your trousers? You're a little silly. If I didn't hold on to my trousers, they would have fallen off. Fuck, I thought you were preparing some kind of internal force. Li Fan breathed a sigh of relief. You scared me. Little brat, don't talk too much. Take this. Yen Kai said as he stabbed his belt at Li Fan. His Taiji sword technique was very exquisite. The belt seemed to have a strong suction force, pulling Li Fan's body, causing Li Fan to subconsciously move closer to the belt. Fuck, what is this? A mysterious item? A gay man's belt? It has the ability to attract all men. Of course, this was just Li Fan's ridicule. All of this was caused by Yen Kai's powerful internal Taiji skill. This guy should be a disciple of Wudong. Why did he go to the Imperial Secret Service? If you can take this, I'll follow you in the future. Yen Kai was full of confidence. This sword was his ultimate skill. Good. When Li Fan heard this, he couldn't help but laugh. Although this sword gave him a very terrifying feeling, it was also an interesting thing to be able to subdue a little brother like Yen Kai. He stretched out his hands and gathered them in front of his body. The belt pierced over with a powerful suction force. The small handbag in Lu Xinan's hand was directly sucked over. When it was near the belt, it was directly crushed into pieces. Li Fan's eyes widened. This move was definitely ruthless. Taiji, although it looked mellow and gentle, it was actually a hidden killer. Li Fan believed that if he got close to the Taiji sword formed by the belt, he would definitely be pulled over and crushed into pieces. Li Fan was also ruthless. In a fight between experts, one move was enough to determine the outcome. He stretched out his hands and a strong burst of true qi burst out from his palms, pulling the belt. Buzz buzz buzz. The Taiji sword in Li Fan's hands kept trembling as if it was trying to break out of an invisible cage. Yan Kai furrowed his brows and poured even more vital energy into his waistband. Cold sweat appeared on Li Fan's back. This move was indeed strong. It could be seen how terrifying Yan Kai's strength was. But no matter how strong he was, this old man will fuck his mother. Li Fan mobilized all the true qi in his body. His dantian almost let out a moaning sound. Gold. Pro. Li Fan roared and ignited his true qi to the limit. Then he pushed out with both hands. A huge wave of qi immediately exploded. Although a white pearl did not form, it shook the belt and caused it to bounce out. With a clang, it stabbed into the ceiling above his head. Yan Kai took another 3 steps back. His feet pressed against the pillar behind him, leaving a half-foot-deep footprint on the pillar. Li Fan only took a step back and spat out a mouthful of turbid air. Forcefully using the heaven-swallowing toad martial arts would also cause a lot of burden on his dantian. In the fight between Li Fan and Yan Kai, he only won by 1 move. This guy was really too strong. This Dao grandpa actually lost? Yan Kai did not dare to believe his eyes. Since he was young, he was practically soaked in a honey pot. He was a talented genius and had never met his match. Now that he actually lost to a person younger than him, his heart was a bit unable to accept it. What's the point of me living? I might as well die. With that, Yan Kai suddenly slammed his head into the pillar beside him. Are you crazy? Li Fan pulled Yan Kai. Isn't it just losing once in a fight? What's the big deal? Is there a need to want to die? Only the Japanese use the method of cutting the abdomen. Are you the same as them? This Dao grandpa's skill is inferior to others. There's no value in living. Yan Kai said hatefully. Then in the future, just win against me once. Li Fan curled his lips. As a man, you don't even have this bit of awareness. Fine, this Dao grandpa will go back and practice. When I come back, I will compete with you again. Yan Kai thought about it. It was indeed like this. He did not care about his task anymore. He turned around and left. Fuck this tofu. Li Fan suddenly remembered something. Didn't he say that he would be his underling if he lost? Chapter 168. Accompanying Lu Xinan for a stroll, Li Fan felt that he was in grave danger. Venomous woman, we might not be compatible. Before getting off the car, Li Fan said this to Lu Xinan. I think it's better for us to meet less in the future. This is also for the sake of our mutual safety. Humph, after attending school for so many years, you're still so superstitious. Lu Xinan rolled her eyes. I really wasted my time attending school. But I heard that Spirit Heart Temple's talismans can ward off evil spirits. Ah, is that so? I'll get someone to get one later. Fuck, I thought you're not superstitious? Sometimes I also need to respect China's ancient culture. Lu Xinan coughed dryly. Anyway, wait for my news. You can't ignore my call, understand? It's fine if I pick you up normally, but I still have to attend classes, right? Li Fan doesn't know whether to laugh or cry. Why did he pick up Lu Xinan's call for no reason? Nothing good will come out of it. You're going to be a rich man soon. Why are you still attending school? How about this? You can pick any of China's famous universities and I'll arrange for you to attend classes. You, Miss Lu, are very capable, but I'm not a gigolo. Li Fan won't accept Lu Xinan's charity. I'll rely on my own ability. I'll go wherever I go. I can't talk to you anymore. I'm getting off. You're home? Lu Xinan looked at the beautiful bungalow outside the car in surprise. Shouldn't your family be living in a pigsty? Fuck, even if the place I lived in was a bit run down, it's not a pigsty, okay? Hearing this, Li Fan felt very uncomfortable. Venomous woman, although you live in a big house and drive a big car, there's one thing I want to tell you. No matter how small your home is, as long as it has the taste of home, it's a harbor. Fine, you're lecturing this lady again. This lady is too lazy to listen. You can live in a big house if you're rich. Also, where do you live? Hurry up and tell me so I can send you there. I'll live here. Li Fan pushed open the car door and was about to get out. Don't you dare barge in just for the sake of face. One look and you can tell that this is a wealthy family. Looking at the 2 rows of bodyguards at the door, Lu Xinan felt that something was wrong. Welcome home, son-in-law. Who would have thought that these 2 rows of bodyguards would directly bow to Li Fan? That respectful appearance was indeed not faked. Lu Xinan was stunned. What was going on? The door of the room was pushed open, and a one-eyed bald man stood there, smiling at Li Fan. Son-in-law, you're back. Son-in-law? What was going on with the son-in-law? Lu Xinan subconsciously felt that something was wrong. She had heard this sentence before. Li Fan said that he had a fiancée before. But how was this possible? Li Fan was just a high school student. How could he have a fiancée? No, I must follow him to take a look. Lu Xinan got out of the car and was about to follow Li Fan in. Miss, please don't come near. The 2 rows of bodyguards immediately blocked Lu Xinan outside. This was the first time she had received such treatment. What are you doing? Don't you know who our Missy is? Yu Feng immediately walked over and pushed the leading bodyguard. But the bodyguards of Murong's family were all skilled. Yu Feng's push actually did not move them. Li Fan looked back and felt a headache. Fuck, why did you guys follow me here? This Lu Xinan was too curious. Why did she follow me here? Son-in-law, this guest is... Taizhu glanced at Lu Xinan. He was a little curious, but he still abided by his duty. Don't worry about her. Let's go home. Li Fan wanted to go back and meditate in seclusion to restore his true qi. He felt that Lu Xinan was his jinx. Nothing good would come out of following her. Since you're a guest, please come in and take a seat. Unexpectedly, Murong Ying's voice came from inside the house. Li Fan immediately felt a headache. Damn, what's wrong with Murong Ying today? In the past, she did not let anyone near her. Why is she so curious today and even let Lu Xinan in? She's still a guest. She's so bored. If that's the case, Missy, please come in. The 2 rows of bodyguards immediately gave way. But Yu Feng wanted to follow in but was stopped. It's okay. With Li Fan here, I'll be fine. Lu Xinan was bold but careful. She waved her hand and let Yu Feng stay outside. This famous woman in City A followed Li Fan into his house. Today, she must find out who Li Fan's fiancé was. She couldn't be stronger than her. Absolutely impossible. For the first time, Lu Xinan felt nervous. She was considered a big shot in City A. Who would she be nervous to see? She's just a woman. What's there to be afraid of? She can't be prettier than me. But as she entered the house and saw the woman sitting in the living room, Lu Xinan was finally stunned. Who is this? At that moment, Lu Xinan actually had a kind of bright and beautiful feeling. In this world, there was actually such a beautiful woman. She seemed to have walked out of a painting. She was otherworldly and did not look like a girl that should exist in the city at all. I'm sorry, I didn't know that I'd invited a guest today. Murong Ying acted like the hostess, which made Lu Xinan unhappy. The 2 introduced themselves first, and then Murong Ying smiled at Lu Xinan. I didn't prepare in advance, so I neglected you. I'm really sorry. I didn't expect that Li Fan would have such a beautiful fiancé. Lu Xinan was stunned for a few seconds, but she quickly reacted. Seeing her today, she's really as beautiful as a fairy. You're too polite. You're also an outstanding beauty. I didn't expect that Li Fan would have such a friend. The 2 women's words had hidden meanings. The 2 seemed to have carried out a smokeless battle. As an ordinary high school student, Li Fan could have such skills. I'm afraid it was you who taught him. Although Lu Xinan did not know the identity of Murong Ying, she was an extremely smart woman. She could guess it with a little thought. Yes, he can be considered as my half-disciple. Murong Ying nodded her head proudly, but his strength is still too far away. I've let you see a joke. He's already very powerful. I wonder how is your kung fu? Lu Xinan somewhat provocatively looked at Murong Ying. After all, I'm also doing well in a city. I also have some experts around me. These ordinary experts can't enter my eyes. This Miss Lu's tone of speech is really not small. But my name should also be considered to enter your eyes. After all, I'm this term's Wulin chief, the successor of the Murong clan. Hearing this, Lu Xinan was really stunned for a moment. Chapter 169. Lu Xinan stares blankly for a moment. Such a big background? She originally thought that she was just a rich young miss. She didn't expect her identity to be so shocking. Murong's family, martial arts alliance leader? She can't be bragging, right? Lu Xinan subconsciously looks at Li Fan. Li Fan nods his head repeatedly. It's true? Lu Xinan is slick, but at this moment, she suddenly doesn't know what to say. She originally wanted to show off her status. She didn't expect that not only would she not be able to do so, she would also be checkmated. But a dignified martial arts alliance leader, how could she be so young, and how could she fancy Li Fan? There must be a mistake somewhere. How could there be a girl who likes Li Fan? There must be a mistake. Lu Xinan laughs dryly. But she doesn't know why. After laughing twice, she can't laugh anymore. This Miss Lu, our family's Li Fan, is simple-minded and easily deceived. If he's outside, I hope that Miss Lu can take care of him. Murong Ying's words have a hidden meaning. Lu Xinan says in her heart, this is giving this miss a show of strength. What a joke! Would this miss be afraid? This miss will not be scared off by this small difficulty. If you swear your sovereignty over Li Fan, this miss will not be afraid of you. Lu Xinan thinks of a way to redeem herself. Her eyes turn and says, although you're Li Fan's fiancé, it doesn't mean that you can interfere with Li Fan's private life, right? In some aspects, Li Fan still needs me. Miss Lu, this doesn't sound right. Murong Ying lightly raises her eyebrows. For Li Fan, he only needs me. That's enough. No, the person he needs the most right now is me. Lu Xinan's voice rises by an octave. Only I can give him what a man truly needs. What a joke. Only I know what he wants. What does he want? What he wants is to be a good husband to me and a qualified son-in-law of the Murong family. You're the funny one, Miss Murong. Lu Xinan's smile was full of confidence. He wants everything a man should have, but what you said is not one of them. You know men very well. I'm not talented, I just know a little more than you. Lu Xinan looked at Murong Ying with a little provocation, which made Murong Ying feel very uncomfortable. Miss Lu, there's something I'd like to say. You have to know your limits. Well said. Lu Xinan nodded. You don't know your limits when it comes to Li Fan. You don't even know what he wants, yet you call yourself his fiancé. What a joke. I don't know. Do you? At least I know a little more than you. Lu Xinan's mouth hangs a smile. Murong Ying also seems to be smiling, but the atmosphere is filled with a terrible smell of gunpowder. These two women. Why are they at each other's throats? I don't understand. I really don't understand. Li Fan felt that his brain is a little insufficient. It's really incomprehensible. Li Fan, what's the relationship between you and this woman? I'm not jealous. I'm just asking out of concern for you. Then I really have to thank you. Li Fan resisted the urge to ridicule, and then said, she and I are ordinary friends, but there will be some cooperation in the future. It should be said that we're in a relationship of mutual benefit. Hey, your words are too harsh. Aren't we sincere and friendly business partners? Sincere and friendly, your sister. How does it look like sincere and friendly between the two of us? Li Fan can't help but ridicule in his heart. But in this kind of awkward atmosphere, it's not good for him to provoke Lu Xinan, so as not to add fuel to the fire. These two women can do whatever they want. I don't want to provoke them. I can help him become the world's #1. What can you help him with? Mu Rong-ing asked provocatively. I can too. Lu Xinan thought of the Vairocana Heart Sutra. She instantly regains her confidence. What you can do, this lady can also do it. What a joke. In this world, besides me, no one can help Li Fan in martial arts. As the saying goes, peaceful means before resorting to force. Mu Rong-ing has already been polite. Now there's no need to be polite. You're just an ordinary person. It's best to stay away from Li Fan. Don't be a burden to our Li Fan. The one who is a burden is you. Lu Xinan didn't back down. She said, if you didn't hold Li Fan back, I'm afraid Li Fan would have developed even more. I hold him back? What a joke. You're the first person who dares to talk to me like this. Mu Rong-ing angrily swung her sleeves. Lu Xinan was also unconvinced. She said, you're also the first person who dares to talk to me like this. Although you're the leader of Wulin, this is not your Wulin. This is my, Lu Xinan's city. As long as I want to, I can summon the wind and rain here. Oh, are you a master? Mu Rong-ing rolled her eyes. Summon the wind and rain? Why don't you go to heaven? Oh my God, Mu Rong-ing actually knows such a trendy word. Could it be that he had misheard? But thinking about it, I've always thought of Mu Rong-ing as a very rigid and stubborn girl. In fact, she also plays Elo. It's just that her personality is a bit traditional. She definitely knows a lot about new things. Of course, that's except for things related to sex. In this aspect, Mu Rong-ing was as innocent as a child. She had been abandoned in the previous era. No matter what you say, you won't understand his heart. Lu Xinan felt that she had conquered Mu Rong-ing step by step. This woman looked very domineering, but in fact, her heart was so simple and easy to fool. She only needed a few words to make her lose confidence. Enough. Mu Rong-ing was a little annoyed. She swung her sleeves and said to Lu Xinan, no matter what you want to say, you're not welcome today. Send the guest away. I can go, but he will come to me sooner or later. Lu Xinan's voice was still full of provocation. She picked up her handbag and stood up, but she didn't forget to say to Li Fan, don't forget our promise. With that, she swayed her hips and left the small Western-style building, leaving Li Fan smiling bitterly. This woman was simply heaven-defying. Is she a professional at starting wars? Li Fan, I really didn't see it coming. After she left, Mu Rong-ing swung her sleeves and began to show off to Li Fan, you're really amazing. You have so many women around you. It's beyond my expectations. The two of us are purely business partners. Li Fan shrugged his shoulders. Although he didn't like Lu Xinan's provocation, he didn't like Mu Rong-ing being so controlling. Chapter 170. Although she was his fiancée, Li Fan didn't like Mu Rong-ing to control him too much. She even wanted to control him when he was just making friends. That was a little too overbearing. Moreover, he didn't have any feelings for Lu Xinan. Although her butt was perky, it was enough for him to look at it once in a while. He didn't want to have too much to do with this woman. She's just a business partner. Do you have to control her? Li Fan looked at Mu Rong-ing with some displeasure. Mu Rong-ing snorted, I can't be bothered with you. It's just that as my husband, I don't want you to interact with some shady people. Although that woman is a bit shady, I rely on myself to survive in the pugilistic world. It's normal for me to make some friends. Do I need a woman to interfere with this kind of thing? Since you know that she's shady, why do you still interact with her? Mu Rong-ing said very directly, in short, I don't like her. You're not allowed to have any interaction with her. It's too late to say that. I've already signed a contract with her. Li Fan spread out his hands, I have to work hard for my own career. You don't have to worry about it. Career? What career? Mu Rong-ing faintly felt that something was wrong and asked warily. Nothing. I'm just preparing to set up an escort agency. Li Fan decided to not tell Mu Rong-ing some things. For example, the Imperial Jade Seal. If he told her, he didn't know what kind of negative impact it would have. Mu Rong-ing was used to hiding some things deeply. Li Fan couldn't understand her heart, so he didn't dare to tell her too much. Escort agency? Do you know the rules and regulations of this place? Although Murong-ing didn't reject an escort agency, she felt that Li Fan's experience in the pugilistic world was too shallow. How could he run such a big escort agency? Do you know any sect leaders in the pugilistic world? Do you know any family heads in the pugilistic world? You don't know any of them. How are you going to be an escort agency? Of course it's based on strength. Li Fan stretched out his right hand and made a stance. I am a man who will defeat the heroes of the world. I don't rely on any connections. If anyone wants to rob me, feel free to come. Naive. Murong-ing raised her hand, and sword chi appeared in her palm, condensing into petals of cherry blossoms. If I wanted to rob you of your darts, how would you deal with it? Bastard! You even dare to rob your own husband's bodyguard. Looks like you are the legendary shameless thief. Go to hell. Who's the shameless one? Murong-ing rolled her eyes and crushed her cherry blossom sword energy. If it was an expert like me who wanted to rob you, would you be able to handle it? Li Fan, do you think that you are invincible just because you have some strength? First of all, your escort agency has no staff, and second of all, it has no reputation. Why is there no one else? Am I not a person? Okay, let's say you're human. Murong-ing continued to remind him, first of all, your strength has just reached a higher level, and there are too many people who are stronger than you in this world. Even if you win a few robbers and make a name for the agency, it will only attract more powerful robbers, who will need to kill you to increase their reputation. This has been the case for many years. Without 100 years of history, no one can establish a truly powerful escort agency. Then let me open the window to a new history. Li Fan was already full of confidence. I won't turn back until I hit the wall. Murong-ing was so angry that she flung her sleeves. Since you don't want to listen to me, then go and hit the wall yourself. Thank you for your support, my dear wife. Li Fan cupped his hands, as if he was thanking her sincerely, which made Murong-ing unhappy. She couldn't control this man anymore. Even if he was killed, she wouldn't care. Son-in-law, have you been harassed by the embroidered uniform guards these past 2 days? Taizhu was still very concerned about Li Fan. Seeing that the two were silent, he asked. Although Murong-ing pretended to continue her cultivation, she subconsciously pricked up her ears. Recently, an embroidered uniform guard came to find me, but I beat him off. Li Fan thought of that person and couldn't help but frown. This person didn't use the martial arts of the embroidered uniform guard. Strange, the embroidered uniform guard's martial arts are very unified. Taizhu was also very knowledgeable about the matters of the Jianghu. The minor phaseless divine technique is a compulsory course for every embroidered uniform guard. Other than this, the rest is using concealed weapons. But he indeed didn't use the minor phaseless divine technique, but the inner Taiji. Li Fan's words caused Murong-ing to open her eyes. Does that person have a jade-like face and likes to wear white? You've seen him before? Although I've never seen him before, I've heard of his name. Murong-ing forgot that she just said that she wouldn't care about Li Fan anymore. This person's talent is only slightly inferior to mine, and he's also an expert with the three-flower realm. However, he has no interest in martial arts. He should have been the leader of Wudong Mountain, but he decided to become a male model. In the end, he was expelled from the mountain. Rub, rub, rub. Li Fan really couldn't doubt his fiancée's words. That lunatic would definitely do something like this. Fortunately, you've never seen this man before. If you did, you'd definitely go crazy. The famous Yen Kai, Yen Ryu. How many people in the Jianghu don't know about him? Murong-ing smiled. What a pity. He has no interest in martial arts. If he could focus on martial arts, I might have a worthy opponent in the Jianghu. Her words were domineering, but Li Fan couldn't say anything. Murong-ing indeed had the strength. You were probably lucky to be able to defeat him. Murong-ing guessed. He had already reached the peak of strength 5 years ago. Wait, Li Fan exclaimed, that's not right. When he fought with me, he only had the strength of a higher level. He was on par with me. Either he was going easy on you, or something happened to him that caused his strength to deteriorate. Miss, I heard that when Yen Kai was expelled from the mountain, all his inner force was destroyed. Iron Pillar recalled for a moment before adding. I see. Murong-ing nodded. He was expelled a year ago, but in just a year, he returned to the strength of a higher level. He's indeed amazing. Don't be like that, okay? I'm also very strong. Li Fan pointed at himself. And very diligent. What kind of diligent are you? Murong-ing rolled her eyes. All the martial artists I know practice martial arts every day. Apart from sleeping and eating, they don't have a single moment of rest. Then don't they go to the toilet? Li Fan asked curiously. Bickering. Murong-ing scolded. In short, you still have a long way to go. Next time you meet Yen Kai, be careful of your life. But this Yen Kai actually joined the Genie Guard. It's really strange. Everyone has their own ambition. Murong-ing waved her hand. In short, you better practice martial arts. How many tigers have your strength entered? Chapter 171. Sixth Tiger. Li Fan circulated his true chi and his temples immediately bulged. If I use all my strength, I can be even stronger. Far from enough. Murong-ing sneered. With this strength, although you can already be considered an expert in the Jianghu, it is still too far away. If he wanted to become an expert who could take charge of an area, reaching the peak was the minimum strength. The Jianghu is too big and there are too many experts. Right now, you are too confident and have lost yourself. I don't think so. Li Fan was a little unhappy. I will still grow. So what if I reach the peak? My dream is to become a grandmaster. After saying that, Li Fan did not want to say anything more to Murong-ing. This woman's favorite thing to do was to strike him down. Cultivation. Only cultivation was his own way of existence. Li Fan's cultivation method was a little special. When others cultivated, they would sit cross-legged, allowing their true chi to circulate more smoothly. But Li Fan was different. The best way for him to cultivate was to enter the state of cultivation while squatting. It could train the lower body and strengthen internal force. This kind of multitasking, only a pure yang body like Li Fan could do. Li Fan had already reached the next level. Now, he could enter the state of inner vision in an instant. The true chi in his body was very smooth. Under Li Fan's control, the true chi began to flow faster. 5 of the 9 acupuncture points in his body had been opened, but the 6th was very strong and could not be shaken. It seemed that the 6th difficulty of the 7 heroes' force was still very difficult to cultivate. Just as Li Fan was cultivating, for clouds of white smoke rose from the top of his head. Seeing this, Tai Zhu could not help but cover his mouth. Heavens, 4 flowers opening. It is probably due to the pure yang body. Murong-ing was also a little jealous. There were 3 kinds of geniuses in martial arts, one higher than the other. One of them was the 3 flowers at one's prominence that he and Yen Kai had. These 3 flowers symbolized a person's essence, chi, and spirit, and were called the earth flower, the human flower, and the heavenly flower. As for the 4 flowers in bloom, it was even more impressive. It symbolized the 4 sages in the human body, the azure dragon, the white tiger, the vermilion bird, and the black tortoise. The 4 sages symbolized the 4 types of energy in the human body: happiness, anger, sorrow, and joy. Just as Murong-ing was feeling a little envious of Li Fan's body slowly began to change. His power continued to flow through his meridians, but he suddenly felt that there was a seemingly unimportant meridian that could allow his true chi to flow a little faster. However, this meridian seemed to be blocked very tightly. It wouldn't affect him much if he didn't open it up. If he opened it up, he might even suffer from chi deviation. Practicing martial arts was extremely dangerous. One wrong step and you would be consigned to eternal damnation. However, Li Fan still decided to give it a try. As the saying goes, the bolder a person is, the more productive he is. Be bold enough to hold hands and walk in bed tomorrow. Li Fan made up his mind. Either he didn't do it, or he would do it big. He mobilized the true qi in his body, and then all of it rushed towards this meridian. However, as soon as the true qi touched the meridian, a feeling of pain instantly filled his body. This pain almost made Li Fan twitch. It was as if someone had stabbed him with 100 needles. How terrifying! This was the first time in his life that he had felt this pain. When Murong Ing and Tai Zhu saw Li Fan's body tremble slightly, the two of them looked at each other in confusion. Why would practicing inner force hurt? Could it be that Li Fan had suffered from qi deviation? Tai Zhu, protect me. Murong Ing couldn't let anything happen to Li Fan. She immediately stood behind Li Fan and mobilized her inner force, trying to help Li Fan channel the true qi in his body. Unexpectedly, when her palm touched Li Fan's back, a strong wave of true qi bounced off her palm. Murong Ing was a little surprised. Li Fan's sudden burst of inner force was so strong that even she was pushed back. She was now at least 10 times stronger than Li Fan. It was indeed inconceivable for her to be pushed back by him. At this moment, Li Fan's cultivation had reached a somewhat mysterious state. Although touching this meridian would hurt, he still endured the force and took out his true qi again and again to attack this meridian. After a few attacks, some cracks finally appeared on the meridian. There's a way. Li Fan was a little excited. He continued to mobilize his true qi and attack this fragile meridian. So what if it was painful? Only by suffering the most bitter would one be able to become a person above others. Li Fan clenched his teeth, mobilized his true qi, and attacked with all his might. His whole body felt like it was about to be torn apart. Li Fan was already covered in cold sweat, but he still managed to open up the meridian. At that moment, the true qi in his dantian poured into this meridian like seawater and then followed this meridian into the other meridians. Li Fan felt as if he had opened up all the meridians in his body. Every place was unobstructed. For a moment, Li Fan felt that the speed of his true qi circulation was a lot faster. The efficiency of extracting true qi was also higher and faster. But he didn't know that after he opened this meridian, the 4 balls of white smoke on top of his head had actually turned into 5. These 5 balls of smoke made Murong Ing and Tai Zhu's jaws drop at the same time. There were 3 great talents in martial arts. The worst was the 3 flowers at one's prominence, the better was the 4 flowers in full bloom, and the best was the 5 flowers in full bloom. The 5 flowers in full bloom symbolized the 5 elements of metal, wood, water, fire, and earth in the human body. In Chinese medicine, the heart was fire, the spleen was earth, the lungs were metal, the kidneys were water, and the liver was wood. Once the 5 flowers in full bloom, the human body's liver could also become a sharp weapon for practicing martial arts. This was the so-called practicing martial arts to the 5 viscera and 6 bowels. However, the 5 flowers in full bloom was not a pure talent. It was because it needed to open up a hidden meridian in the human body. This meridian was called divine connection. Murong Ing had been practicing martial arts for so many years. She was a rare talent in the world, but she had never seen this so-called divine connection meridian. Murong Ing thought that this divine connection meridian was just a legend. The 5 flowers in full bloom was just a beautiful wish. But at this moment, this legendary scene of martial arts appeared in front of her. She had no choice but to believe it. The 5 flowers in full bloom. From now on, Li Fan's martial arts path would definitely have a bright future. Phew! Li Fan spat out a mouthful of foul air. His ears and eyes were now sharp, and they were a little better than before. Looking at the 2 stunned women, Li Fan felt a little strange. What are you looking at? No, nothing. Murong Ing turned her head away, not letting Li Fan see the envy in her eyes. Young master. Tai Zhu was about to speak, but Murong Ing gave her a look. Tai Zhu swallowed what she wanted to say. Young master, it's getting late. You should go back to sleep. You're right. I'll go back to sleep then. Li Fan stretched and stood up. Honey, do you want to sleep together tonight? Get lost. Chapter 172. Wang Chang, what kind of magic does that woman have to make you so infatuated with her? A few days later, Yang Ruining was invited to a coffee shop near the school by Wang Chang. The two of them were drinking coffee, and Wang Chang was dressed very handsomely today. He was wearing a black suit, which was obviously expensive. Just the golden tie around his neck was worth 100,000 yuan. She is my goddess. This is the first time in my life that I've seen such a beautiful woman. Wang Chang's Mercedes-Benz was filled with red roses. He was going to give these flowers to Murong Ing in a while. Young Master Yang, when the time comes, I'll leave the school's little tyrant to you. That's not a problem. Yang Ruining was not very happy when he spoke. He had been through a lot of bad luck recently. Previously, he had promised to help Wang Chang teach a lesson, but he did not manage to do so. His fiancée got an expert to pretend to be her boyfriend to disgust him. In the end, he even lost a lot of his brothers. Tang Bingyao almost slit his neck in front of him to apologize, but Yang Ruining stopped him. After all, such a capable confidant was rare. Yang Ruining would not deal with a convenient assistant just because of one failure. Today, Yang Ruining had been asked out by Wang Chang to vent his anger. I'm just a little curious. What kind of woman can make you so infatuated with her? Wang Chang, you're also a rich kid. What kind of woman have you not played with? It's really different this time. Wang Chang said excitedly. From the first time I saw her, I knew that I had fallen deeply in love with her. This is different from how I feel about other women. I have to get her. Otherwise, I won't be willing. Look at you. Yang Ruining curled his lips, looking down on Wang Chang. However, he didn't have many friends. Although Wang Chang was just a fair-weather friend, Yang Ruining didn't want to ignore him. After all, there weren't many people who were worthy of being his friend. It was just a small matter of raising his hand, so he treated it as coaxing him. I'll help you take care of that little tyrant. Yang Ruining waved his hand. Just chase after the girl in peace. Thank you, young Master Yang. Wang Chang was extremely grateful, but he was still a little worried. But, is the person that young Master Yang brought this time reliable? The expert this time is even more powerful. As Yang Ruining spoke, he stood up and cupped his hands. Fairy Shun, I'll have to trouble you to show my brother your skills. Humph. At the table next to him sat a woman in a purple dress. For some reason, half of her face was covered by an iron mask, while the other half of her face was that of a beautiful woman. Yang Ruining curiously wanted to know what half of her face looked like, but according to Huang Fufeng, his senior sister, Shen Mengqing, when she was young, in order to practice an evil poison technique, she destroyed her face. As for Zhang Yuren, it was said that Huang Fufeng had once seen him vomiting for 3 days and 3 nights, and he had been a vegetarian for a month. However, her kung fu was real. Even Yang Ruining had to be respectful to her, giving her the treatment that a master should have. Whoosh! Shen Mingjie picked up a glass of water and threw it towards them. Pa! The cup landed steadily in front of Wang Chang, and the cup of water inside had now turned into ice cubes that were emitting cold air. Oh my God! Wang Chang lightly touched the ice cubes with his finger, causing his finger to ache from the cold. Is this magic? It's not magic, it's real internal energy. Looking at Wang Chang's shocked expression, Yang Ruining's face lit up, feeling proud in his heart. This is called Ice Heart Sutra. After mastering it, the true Qi is even colder than ice. In front of our fairy Shen, that little tyrant can only obediently admit defeat. That's for sure. Wang Chang nodded repeatedly. No matter how powerful he is, he's only a school's little tyrant. How can he be compared to a real master? When he sees Fairy Shen, he will be so scared that he pees his pants. Seeing Shen Mingjie's skill, Wang Chang laughed in his heart. This is great, like this, Li Fan is dead for sure. Fairy Shen, this time I have to thank you properly. Also, young Master Yang, if I can woo the goddess, I will give you my treasured Batmobile. Oh! Yang Ruining seemed to be somewhat interested. Wang Chang's Batmobile was a limited edition. At that time, Yang Ruining did not even have the time to buy it. This Yang Ruining does not have any other hobbies, but he likes to collect sports cars. Although he likes Wang Chang's car, as a young master, he is too embarrassed to say such words. Now that Wang Chang has taken the initiative to send it over, it is impossible for Yang Ruining to not be interested. Ah, goddess, the goddess is out. This coffee shop is right across from the school, so Wang Chang can see the movement at the school gate. At this time, Murong Ing just happened to walk out of the school. Wang Chang is like a spoiled child as he runs downstairs. Yang Ruining has no choice but to sneer at this man who is infatuated with women in his heart as he invites Shen Mengjie downstairs. These 2 days, Murong Ing has not been very happy. She discovered that Li Fan is a genius, making her happy and jealous, but she also discovered that Li Fan is surrounded by endless peach blossoms. He is clearly her man, but he has so many women accompanying him, which really makes her unhappy. It should be because he is unhappy after his belongings are forcefully taken. That's right. These few days, I have to keep an eye on Li Fan. I can't let him indulge himself like this. Murong Ing announced that she will drive Li Fan to school for the next week, which made Li Fan uncomfortable and made Lin Yuan very unhappy. It is really depressing to have such a domineering woman at home. However, the huge debt at home makes Li Fan can only serve the young miss. It is only a week, I have to endure it. At this time, Li Fan is carrying his school bag and following beside Murong Ing. A black Bentley is parked at the school gate. Tai Zhu acts as the driver, waiting for his family's young miss and son-in-law. What are you looking at? Noticing that Li Fan is looking around, Murong Ing can't help but say coldly, "Fuck, I'm not your dog. Can't I look around?" Although Li Fan said so, he is more or less guilty. After all, he is looking at where Lin Yuan is. They usually go to and from school together. Occasionally, someone else changes, and Li Fan is really a little not used to it. Getting used to this thing is really quite scary. Goddess, be my girlfriend, goddess. Just as the two of them are about to leave, Wang Chang brought a car full of roses and knelt in front of Murong Ing. At the same time, a row of beautiful fireworks popped up behind him and bloomed in the air, which is called romantic. The tricks of the rich. Murong Ing, on the other hand, frowned. It was obvious that she did not like such a high-profile and pompous manner. Goddess, please be my girlfriend. Wang Chang's face is full of admiration, but Murong Ing is very unhappy. Get out of the way, you are blocking the way. Chapter 173. Get out of the way, you're blocking the way. Murong Ing was very unhappy. If you block the way again, I'll call the police. Goddess, please give me a chance. Wang Chang begged, look, I can give you anything. As long as you are willing to be my girlfriend, I promise to do everything for you. I don't like half-hearted men. It was unknown if Murong Ying's words were said to Li Fan or to Wang Chang. Moreover, you're too weak. Give me a chance, I will become stronger. Isn't it just practicing martial arts? I've decided, as long as you promise me, I will go to Mount Song's Shaolin Temple to learn martial arts tomorrow. Murong Ing felt that she was speechless. This man could even think of such a method. He was simply invincible. In this way, she really couldn't directly refuse. After all, Murong Ing was still a member of the school's board of directors. There was no need to make things too stiff with the students. Dealing with students required some proper methods. I don't fall in love with others. Murong Ing could only say so. You have to try everything. Wang Chang pestered her, making Murong Ing very unhappy. She almost flew up and kicked Wang Chang's head. Wang Chang, are you too free today? Li Fan walked to the front and glanced at Wang Chang. Does your balls hurt? Let me help you rub them? Li Fan, you, don't be arrogant. Seeing Li Fan, Wang Chang's calves and stomach began to tremble. I have a way to deal with you today. I'm not afraid of you anymore. Li Fan could not help but laugh. This is interesting, let me take a look. I'm not the one who's going to make a move today. Wang Chang saw Li Fan's eyes widen and subconsciously took 2 steps back. I found a powerful helper. Saying that, he turned to look at Yang Ruining behind him. Young Master Yang, it's all up to you. Li Fan's gaze also fell on Yang Ruining, who had just walked over. He thought to himself, this guy looks familiar. When Yang Ruining saw Li Fan, his eyes widened. Even if he turned into ashes, he would still recognize him. This guy had hit him. He was the first person who had ever hit him. Sure enough, he was an imposter. So he was a student of this school. No wonder they couldn't find anything after searching for so long. Today, they found it without any effort at all. The heavens are really helping me. Yang Ruining must kill him today. Yang Ruining was about to lose his temper, but then he saw Murong Ing beside Li Fan. His eyeballs were about to pop out of their sockets. Yang Ruining was also a confident person who had played with countless women, but this woman seemed to have surpassed his common sense. How could there be such a beautiful woman? She simply walked out of a painting. At that moment, Yang Ruining felt his heartbeat speed up. Is this the feeling of being in love? No matter what, he must conquer this woman. He had to make her submit to him. Yang Ruining, can't get any woman I want. She won't be able to run away. She will definitely be mine. Young Master Yang, my great cause of love depends on you. Fuck your mother. Yang Ruining raised his leg and kicked Wang Chang away, not giving him any face. Young Master Yang, you. Wang Chang was kicked in a daze, not knowing what had happened. What happened to help? Why did it suddenly become like this? This young Master Yang changed his face too quickly. What's going on? Wang Chang actually felt wronged for a moment. You toad, you actually want to woo a white swan? Yang Ruining directly scolded Wang Chang. Disgusting, who do you think you are? How dare you lay your hands on such a beauty? Yang Ruining kicked Wang Chang again. Don't harass this beauty in the future. Quickly scram. Otherwise, I will beat you up every time I see you. Wang Chang covered the place where he was kicked and ran away in a sorry state. Yang Ruining immediately said to Murong Ing with a face full of smiles, Hello goddess, my name is Yang Ruining. This is my name card. He was handsome, confident, and elegant. He was especially confident that his smile would definitely have the power to kill. But what he did not expect was that this woman completely ignored his charm and coldly said, I don't care who you are, this is a school, not your romantic place. Scram immediately. This was the first time he was treated like this by a woman. Yang Ruining was actually speechless for a moment. Let's go. Murong Ing pulled Li Fan and was about to leave. But how could Yang Ruining let go of the fat meat in his mouth? He stopped the two of them and said somewhat fiercely, Wait a minute, I know you. Yang Ruining was obviously looking for trouble. His gaze was fixed on Li Fan, as if he wanted to skin Li Fan alive. Is that so? Li Fan blinked his eyes and pretended to be stupid as he looked at Yang Ruining. Have we met before? Mister, have you mistaken me for someone else? Don't play dumb with me. Yang Ruining let out a low growl. Aren't you Nanin's boyfriend? Boyfriend? Murong Ying's eyebrows immediately raised. She was exceptionally smart and instantly guessed this person's name, Lu Xinan. Don't listen to his nonsense. Li Fan waved his hand repeatedly. I've never seen him before. I'm just a student, how could I know these shady people? Who are you calling shady people? Yang Ruining was even more displeased. The etiquette and bearing that he had learned in the past had disappeared in an instant. I've been looking for you for so long, and today you've delivered yourself to me. God is on my side. Yang Ruining's face had a sinister smile. Today I've found an even more powerful expert. She can take your life with just a wave of her hand. What are you talking about, what expert? Li Fan continued to play dumb. Why don't I understand? Fairy Shin. I'm begging you, destroy him. Yang Ruining roared. A figure suddenly flashed out from behind him. This was a woman wearing half an iron mask. She stretched out her right hand and directly grabbed Li Fan's face. Shen Mingjie was filled with confidence. She had a long reputation in the pugilistic world. The title of Ice Poison Fairy was not for nothing. In the pugilistic world, who wouldn't tremble upon seeing her? Just a little brat like him, how much ability could he possibly have? Her junior brother was also too useless. He actually lost to this little brat. This was really too shameful. Shen Mingjie's frost palm could freeze a person's entire body's blood into ice cubes. But unexpectedly, before Shen Mingjie could hit Li Fan's head, a person suddenly appeared out of nowhere. This was a beautiful woman. Her face was like a fairy from a painting, making Shin Mingjie jealous. How could there be such a beautiful woman in this world? Since she existed, why would other women be born? But why was this woman's appearance somewhat familiar? Chapter 174. Who is this witch? How dare you be so presumptuous here? Murong Ying's rebuke made Shin Mingjie quiver in fright. Murong Ying. Although Shin Mingjie rarely pays attention to a woman's appearance, but she will never forget this woman's face. After all, in the current martial arts world, she is the #1 woman, known as the legend among women. Presumptuous. Murong Ying reprimands again, you should call me Alliance Leader Murong. In the martial arts world, there are many rules. These people who practice martial arts belong to the martial arts world. And all the martial arts masters, when they see Murong Ying, must respectfully call her Alliance Leader. Alliance Leader Murong. I didn't know you were here today, sorry to disturb you. But this is a private matter between me and this kid, I hope you don't interfere. Although Shin Mingjie is very arrogant, but she does not want to provoke Murong Ying. Although she secretly does not like this woman, but her strength is there for all to see. For thousands of years, the Alliance Leader of the martial arts world, when has she ever had a false reputation? Oh, when has Murong Ying ever listened to other people's words? I am curious, what is the private matter between you and him? I was entrusted by someone, so I am loyal to him. I hope Alliance Leader. Don't interfere. Even so, he does not allow you to touch him. Murong Ying says bluntly, he is my fiancé. Whoever dares to touch even a single hair of his is making life difficult for me, Murong Ying. Making life difficult for my entire Murong family. Hearing this, Shin Mingjie is a little scared. Murong family's position in the martial arts world is definitely one of the best. As the saying goes, the North Murong family is the South Sima. This is not a privilege that ordinary martial arts family can obtain. As for the Murong family's patriarch, Murong Bo, he was rumored to be a supreme expert of his generation. With him around, the position of Murong's family would be even more stable. And in this era, Murong Ying had appeared out of nowhere, bringing the status of the Murong family to new heights. No matter who you offend, don't offend Murong's family. Not to mention that his strength was inferior to Murong Ying's. If he were to fight with her, he would be the one to suffer. What you want to fight? When Murong Ying asked this, Shin Mingjie almost peed her pants. Fuck, it's just being a bodyguard. He was clearly told to deal with some small fries, but he didn't say anything about fighting against the martial arts guild master. Alliance Master Murong, I was rude. Shin Mingjie cupped her hands. The so-called demeanor of an expert was now completely gone. Yang Ruining was still puzzled. What did Alliance Leader mean? Why did Fairy Shin suddenly become so timid? Move aside. When Li Fan saw Shin Mingjie's palm technique, he was itching to try it out. What do you want? Murong Ying frowned, but Li Fan already took a step forward. She came for me, so I naturally have to accompany her. You're crazy. Murong Ying reminded Li Fan, this is the famous ice poison fairy, Shin Mingjie. If she makes a move, she won't spare your life. When Shin Mingjie heard this, she felt a little proud. To be praised by the Alliance Leader, she felt really good. So what? If I'm afraid, how can I practice martial arts in the future? Li Fan rolled up his sleeves and made a starting stance toward Shin Mingjie. 7 Heroes Fist. Li Fan, please enlighten me. Li Fan had already made a stance, which was a declaration of war. To a martial fighter, an official martial duel was very sacred. Even the martial arts guild master had no right to interfere. Sky Poison Sex Shin Mingjie. Shin Mingjie was overjoyed. What an idiot. Before she could goad him, he took the initiative to take the bait. There weren't many idiots like him nowadays. What an idiot. Murong Ying was a little angry and fiercely swung her sleeves. This guy was really hopeless. He clearly knew that his strength was not the opponent's, but he still accepted the challenge and even took the initiative to challenge her. Did this Li Fan's brain circuit have a problem? Didn't he reject martial arts fights in the past? Why did he become a martial arts fanatic now? You are a junior in the martial arts guild, I can't bully you. Shen Mingjie brought out the demeanor of a so-called expert. In front of the martial arts guild master, she still had to act cool. I'll let you have 3 moves, come at me. Shen Mingjie crooked her finger at Li Fan, causing Li Fan to smile. Since that's the case, it would be impolite to refuse. The opponent was an expert of ice palm, the same martial art that Murong loved. For such a person he had to fight with speed. Before they made a move, he had to eliminate them first. And this Shen Mingjie actually took the initiative to give him a chance. It was simply a win. But Shen Mingjie didn't put Li Fan in her eyes. The opponent was not a match for a young brat. Even if he started training in his mother's womb, how many years could he have trained? And she had started training since she was 8 years old. She was already 38 years old this year. She had trained for more than 30 years and bitterly trained in the Ice Heart Sutra. Beating him was a piece of cake. And with the protection of Ice Chi, what can he do to me? Then take my first move. Li Fan suddenly took a step forward and directly sent a palm towards Shen Mingjie's chest. Bear King Seal. This was an absolute art under the bear strike technique. It was definitely fatal. Shen Mingjie originally didn't put this move in her eyes, but when she saw Li Fan's palm in front of her and the huge amount of chi in it, Shen Mingjie's expression finally changed. She immediately raised her palm and sent a slap over, clashing with Li Fan's palm. Ice-cold palm. The 30 years of ice-cold chi in her body was poured into her palm. At that moment, Shen Mingjie's palm was as white as jade and even carried a dense cold chi. But Li Fan's Bear King Seal was not a casual palm. His palm contained an explosive power, which was learned from Liao Bing's thunderclap palm. As the 2 palms clashed, the air distorted. The 2 palms exploded with powerful chi, clashing with each other and tearing each other's bodies apart. A layer of white frost appeared on Li Fan's body, as though he was frozen. Blood immediately appeared at the corner of Shen Mingjie's mouth. It was obvious that Li Fan's palm had injured her internal organs. Murong Ying watched from the side. Her heart was secretly anxious, but she didn't know what to do. The 2 of them were competing with their chi. One side was weaker, the other side was stronger. They could only see whose chi was more robust. And Shen Mingjie had not only cultivated for 30 years, she also had a unique ice attribute, which was extremely destructive to the internal organs of the human body. When Li Fan exchanged palms with her, he was really at a disadvantage. But Shen Mingjie was shameless. She said she would let him have 3 moves, but in the end, she couldn't hold back on the first move and made a move to resist. Li Fan did not make a sound. He had already predicted that Shen Mingjie would make a move. At the same time, all the chi in his body was mobilized, crazily gathering in the direction of his palm, clashing with Shen Mingjie's terrifying ice-cold chi, trying to determine who was stronger. Chapter 175. Li Fan's character was very stubborn. Once he set his mind on something, even 9 bulls would not be able to pull him back. He was determined to fight with Shen Mengqing, and Murong Ying would definitely not be able to stop him. At this time, the 2 of them had already fallen into the most basic internal energy collision. Although Li Fan and Shen Mingjie were both experts, Li Fan had just crossed the threshold. After successfully refining Old Man Yamada's Vajra subduing demon, he only had the strength of 6 tigers. Shen Mingjie had already trained for more than 30 years and had the strength of 3 dragons. 1 dragon was equivalent to 5 tigers. In other words, Shen Mingjie's strength was close to 3 times that of Li Fan. It was very disadvantageous for Li Fan to compete with an expert who had 3 times his internal energy. In particular, Shen Mingjie's internal energy contained a strong ice attribute. This internal energy was like a poisonous snake, following the palms of the 2 people and swimming towards Li Fan's internal organs, constantly freezing his meridians and blood. If not for the fact that Li Fan had a pure yang body and a body full of yang qi, he would probably have turned into a snowman. Li Fan also felt that he was being rude. Competing with Shen Mingjie's internal energy was obviously a bad idea. He instantly fell into deep thought. While resisting Shen Mingjie's internal energy, his brain was spinning quickly. Li Fan seemed to have thought of something. This Shen Mingjie's martial arts was too strange and it had an ice attribute. It was really sinister. Since she was sinister, why should he be lenient? Li Fan immediately transformed the internal energy in his body, allowing him to enter the state of Toad Strike from Bear Strike technique. At this moment, Li Fan's palm seemed to have become a black hole. It was originally competing with Shen Mingjie's internal energy, but in the blink of an eye, it began to actively absorb internal energy from Shen Mingjie's palm. Shen Mingjie was still feeling proud. This silly kid actually came knocking on her door and even competed with her internal energy. As the saying goes, he did not walk the road to heaven, but barged into the doorless hell. But before she could be proud for too long, a terrible thing happened. The true qi in her body suddenly went out of control and started to crazily flow towards Li Fan's body. Good lad. Shen Mingjie was not stupid. She immediately figured out what was going on. Her expression changed dramatically. She didn't have time to think and immediately cut off the true qi in her right hand. Pa! Their palms bounced off each other and they each took 2 steps back. The frost on Li Fan's face melted little by little, and Shen Mingjie, who was originally proud of herself, was now pale, big drops of cold sweat constantly flowing down from her forehead. Murong Ying noticed something and frowned, but she didn't say anything. Alliance Master Murong, your Murong family has always been open and aboveboard, and you are respected by the people of the martial arts world. But I never imagined that your fiancé was actually such a sinister person, cultivating such an evil martial art. You really know how to slander others. Li Fan wasn't angry as he looked at Shen Mingjie in front of him and chuckled. You also have the right to say that other people's martial art is sinister, really shameless. This dragon toad absorption of water of mine is indeed specially used to absorb other people's power. But I only use it on evil people like you. It is legitimate self-defense. Even if I were to scratch your chest, dig out your eyes and pull out your cock, it wouldn't be too much. You are shameless. You are even despicable. Li Fan rolled his eyes. The two of us are fighting all right? You are allowed to use evil palm techniques, but I am not allowed to use poison to fight poison? Since your skills are inferior, why don't you go back and look for your mother? Lad, I will kill you. Shen Mingjie was angered by Li Fan's words. Ignoring the loss of internal energy, she raised her palm and swept towards Li Fan. This palm still had the elegance of the frost palm. Wherever the palm wind went, cold wind rustled, chilling into the bone. Right now, Shen Mingjie must be on guard. If he wanted to use the dragon toad absorption of water to sneak attack her, it would probably be useless. Li Fan no longer met Shen Mingjie's palm head-on. At the same time, because the frost palm was like a ghost and the angle was tricky, Li Fan was unable to use Snake Strike to defend and counterattack. To deal with an internal energy expert like Shen Mingjie, Li Fan decided to fight speed with speed. His body sank and instantly entered the state of Tiger Strike. At that moment, all the qi in his body was injected into his 10 fingers, strengthening the strength of his fingers. Everyone had to keep a trump card. Li Fan decided to keep Toad Strike as his trump card. Unless it was the moment to kill, he would not use this martial art. Before Shen Mingjie's palm landed on Li Fan's body, Li Fan had already raised his claw like lightning. His fingers were like tiger claws, tearing at Shen Mingjie's arm, bringing with it dark red blood. Shen Mingjie's arm was in pain. Li Fan's tiger claws almost broke her bones. How did this man train his external martial arts to such a high level? Even if he started practicing martial arts in his mother's womb, it would still be impossible to train to such a high level, right? But Tiger Strike had always been the most ferocious attack. After Li Fan forced Shen Mingjie back with one move, he once again pounced forward, followed by a series of claw attacks. But Shen Mingjie was after all a senior expert. After she suffered a loss once, she would not suffer a second time. Now Shen Mingjie had calmed down. She reached out her hand and slapped away Li Fan's attack. Then she took 2 steps back and readjusted her posture. Li Fan was a little excited. An expert was indeed an expert. She actually saw through his attacks so quickly. brat, your time of death has come. Shen Mingjie seemed to be very angry. She clenched her right hand beside her leg. Cold air gathered and a gloomy aura made Li Fan subconsciously shiver. To be able to force me to use this move, your death is worth it. As she spoke, Shen Mingjie's hair moved without wind. It was like it was blown up by true energy. As for Shen Mingjie's entire left hand, it had already turned into white bones. It carried a horrifying aura. Your cold ice palm was actually trained to the 8th level? Murong-ing looked at Shen Mingjie's palm and could not help being shocked. Exactly. This 8th level cold ice palm, I have yet to let others see it. Alliance Chief Murong, today I will use your fiancé as a sacrifice for this palm. As she said, Shen Mingjie suddenly leaned forward. Her palm suddenly slammed towards Li Fan's head. If this palm landed, perhaps even 9 lives of Li Fan would not be enough. This time, Shen Mingjie used her full strength. Li Fan actually felt an unstoppable pressure. But at this critical moment, Murong-ing made her move. She did not make any unnecessary movements. She just stretched out 2 fingers and poked Shen Mingjie's palm. Puff! Shen Mingjie's confident 8th level cold ice palm was broken just like that. Her palm trembled. She took 2 steps back. Her expression was a little fearful and a little unwilling. Alliance Chief Murong, you actually interfered in our match. I interfered? How about it? Murong-ing flicked her sleeves. It was obvious that she was starting to act shamelessly. Chapter 176. Shen Mingjie's belly full of words were forcefully swallowed back. Damn it, the chief of Wulin was acting shamelessly. How could she continue? She had a belly full of anger, but now she could only forcefully swallow it. Chief Murong. This matter, my sky poison sect will remember. Shen Mingjie cupped her hands towards Murong-ing. The mountains will not change, the rivers will flow forever, we will meet again. See you again. Rules must be followed, so Murong-ing still politely returned the greeting. Yang Ruining was a little unable to react. How could the goddess that he liked was also a martial arts expert? She had only used 2 fingers to pierce through Fairy Shen's terrifying palm strike? This kind of woman, it would be very difficult to pursue. But the more difficult it was, the more Yang Ruining wanted to challenge. This beauty, give me a chance to get to know you. Yang Ruining was unrelenting. He knew that the best way to deal with a woman was to pester her. Not to mention that he had such a high status, such a big family business, all the women in a city who wanted to throw themselves at him were already lining up in the neighboring city. With his conditions, wouldn't it be easy to conquer a beauty? But Yang Ruining miscalculated. Not only did Shen Mingjie ignore him, she even scolded him. Keep a meter away from me, otherwise I can't guarantee that you won't lose an arm or a leg. The chief of Wulin was so domineering, Yang Ruining was very embarrassed. He didn't know whether to advance or retreat. Li Fan, on the other hand, was unusually silent, standing beside Murong-ing, not saying a word. Beauty, don't be so heartless, can you give me some face? Yang Ruining decided to add fuel to the fire, so he said, I am Yang Yishan's son. Who is Yang Yishan? Although Murong-ing knew the matters of Wulin like the back of her hand, she didn't know much about the situation of the secular world. Tai Zhu was secretly whispering to Murong-ing at the side. Big miss. This Yang Yishan is the secretary of H Province's provincial committee. And Yang Yishan's father is Yang Jingye, the founding father of Huaxia, a member of the Politburo's standing committee. Any one of these identities could scare someone to death. But it didn't work on Murong-ing. She was a hero in Jianghu and was born in an aristocratic family in Jianghu. She had nothing to do with politics. On the contrary, many big shots in the political circle often came to them to ask for some inner force training methods. Practicing martial arts could not only strengthen one's body, but it could also cleanse one's bones and marrow, extending one's lifespan. This was the first reason. The second reason was that the experts of every big family were China's national treasures. China's officials weren't stupid and knew the value of these people. Just like the huge Murong family, who knows how many politicians want to curry favor with them. To others, the son of a provincial party secretary was someone they had to fawn over, including that Wang Chong from before. His family background was already very overbearing, but after being slapped twice by Yang Ruining, he could only go back honestly. However, the person he met was Murong-ing. "Get lost," Murong-ing mercilessly scolded. Her voice contained a little bit of true qi, causing Yang Ruining's body to tremble. "You're not qualified. Let your father talk to me." "I'm not convinced." But Yang Ruining was not willing to let go just like that. He asked, "How am I inferior to him? He's just a poor student, and I'm a prince. Not only in a city, but even in China, who doesn't know me, the young master of the Yang family? Even if I want the stars and the moon, there will be people who will pluck them for me." "So what?" Murong-ing did not seem moved at all. "My future man will be a great hero with an indomitable spirit. You're just relying on your family background to have people respect you. And if you don't have these, what's so great about you? This is what God gave me. Why wouldn't it be?" Yang Ruining was very stubborn. "This is the fate that God gave me. I will naturally accept it. I was born stronger than this man. How can he compare to me? Maybe he's not as good as you today." Murong-ing smiled and said confidently to Yang Ruining, "But it won't be long before you can only look up to him." "How dare you have the confidence to say such a thing? Because he's the man that I, Murong-ing, chose. He's destined to be a dragon among men." This sentence made Li Fan, who was still deep in thought, raise his head and look at his fiancée in surprise. The two of them had been together for a long time, but this was the first time he heard her say such words. It was impossible for Li Fan not to be surprised. These words were really not something that Murong-ing would say. She usually wished that she could say that she was a scum to be happy. "I won't end it like this." Yang Ruining felt as if he had been greatly insulted today. "I will tell you what a truly strong man is." "Alright, I'll wait and see." Murong-ing didn't put Yang Ruining in her eyes at all. She dropped these words and got into the car with Li Fan. Looking at Li Fan's somewhat enthusiastic eyes, Murong-ing felt somewhat uncomfortable. She turned her head and looked at the scenery outside the window that was constantly retreating. "What are you looking at? If you look again, I'll dig out your eyes." "AI, how did you suddenly become a female Rakshasa?" "Who's a female Rakshasa?" Murong-ing glared at Li Fan. "Weren't you praising me just now? How did you change in the blink of an eye?" "Who praised you? Did you hear wrongly? Didn't you say that I'm a dragon among men? I just don't like that yang something." Murong-ing immediately said, "I was just saying some nonsense. Don't take it seriously." Li Fan was choked with anger by these words. This Murong-ing, would she die if she didn't provoke him? So, it's better if you don't have any wishful thinking. Li Fan was unhappy in his heart. This woman, would she die if she didn't mock him? No, such a deep hatred must be avenged. "Wife, actually you don't know. Recently, I've been suffering from qi deviation. I feel that I don't have much time left." Scram. Li Fan can only helplessly shrug his shoulders. It seems like this wife of his doesn't fall for this trick. "Wife, recently I feel that my waist is a little sore and I also like to vomit. I think it's because of pregnancy." "I'll kill you." "Wife, we are husband and wife. Why don't we have any trust between us?" Li Fan shouted in displeasure. But Murong-ing laughed. She looked at Li Fan with a gaze that seemed to be able to see through his thoughts. "Li Fan, after getting along with you, I've already concluded a set of rules. That is, whatever you say, I'll treat it as dog fart." "Fuck." Li Fan rolled his eyes. "Wife, actually you're very beautiful. You're the most beautiful person I've ever seen. But occasionally you'll say one or two human words." Murong-ing laughed even more happily. But soon she couldn't laugh anymore. "Big Miss, there's a message from home. It says that the master wants to visit the son-in-law's house." Chapter 177. What the hell? Is there any more terrible news than this? Not to mention Li Fan, even Murong-ing couldn't react for a long time when she heard the news. Murong Bo is actually coming here? Did I hear it wrong? Although it's my father, but in this situation, it's too late to hide from him, but he actually came here? Are you sure? Murong Ing asked with some apprehension. No. He said he's here to see how eldest miss is doing. Tai Zhu confirmed the news, but it made Li Fan and Murong Ing both break out in cold sweat at the same time. This is definitely not good news, right? No, I have to think of a way to send him away quickly. Murong Ing thought for a moment, then said, just tell him that I've recently gone to the mountains to cultivate, and I'm not at home. Master said that if eldest miss is not at home, he will have a good chat with son-in-law about life. Li Fan's cold sweat flowed even faster. Sure enough, he doesn't come with good intentions. Li Fan recently organized a camping trip at school, and he's not at home either. Murong Ing has already lost her sense of propriety. Li Fan said, what the hell is this reason? It'll be a ghost if people believe it, unless Murong Bo's cerebellum is not fully developed. Master said, if son-in-law is also not at home, he will wait at home until the two of you come back. Sure enough, Tai Zhu added another sentence. Li Fan knew that Murong Bo, that old fellow, is definitely an old fox. With just the two of them, it's still not enough to fight with Murong Bo in a battle of wits and courage. Moreover, Master will be here at 7 o'clock tonight, and he asked us to prepare dinner. Got it. Murong Ing frowned deeply. Obviously, she didn't want to meet her father. The main thing was that Murong Bo and Li Fan didn't get along with each other. They weren't a harmonious father-in-law and son-in-law. For the first time, Murong Ing began to worry. Li Fan, when the time comes, no matter what, you must endure it. Murong Ing had already begun to instruct Li Fan, and you have to dress up a little, according to father's idea of a standard son-in-law, change yourself well. Fuck what? I think Li Fan want to marry a wife. Do I need to have a split personality? Why do you have so much nonsense to say? Could it be that you want to fight with my father? Hurry up and send him away, okay? Murong Ing was already furious. She reprimanded him, you're already in danger. I haven't even taught you a lesson, and you're already getting impatient. Why are you lecturing me? It's not like I've done anything evil. Li Fan was very puzzled. You don't remember? Fine, I can remind you. Murong Ing asked straightforwardly, tell me honestly, what's going on with your dragon toad's ingestion of water? Hey, you're talking about dragon toad's ingestion of water. Li Fan felt that Murong Ing was making a mountain out of a molehill. Isn't it just a martial art that absorbs internal energy? It's not like I hang it on my hand every day. This martial art, I only use it to deal with those martial artists with bad intentions. Absorbing internal energy, this is an evil martial art. Do you know? What is an orthodox martial art? What is an evil martial art? Li Fan was dismissive. This thing is the same as a pistol, it's a killing weapon. But in the hands of different people, it has different meanings. Dragon toad's ingestion of water is the same. It's not an orthodox martial art, nor is it an evil martial art. It's in my hands. Whether it's good or bad completely depends on what I use it for. Idealistic. Murong Ing unreservedly mocked. In this pugilistic world, is there anyone who is willing to vouch for you, Li Fan, that you're a righteous hero who won't use dragon toad's ingestion of water to do evil? There shouldn't be anyone, after all. I don't have a name in the pugilistic world. Relax, you'll have one soon. Murong Ing directly rolled her eyes at Li Fan. Your previous name was Murong Ying's fiancé. And after your battle with Shinmengjie today, your name will soon become Murong Ying's fiancé who practices evil martial arts. My martial arts were trained by myself. Why do I have to bring you along when I call out my name? No, you're mistaken. Murong Ing reminded Li Fan, it's when I call out my name, I will bring you along. Fucking tofu, sooner or later I'll change this. I don't know if I'll live to see that day, but I hope that our child will be a great hero in the future. When Murong Ing said this, her face was filled with anticipation and motherly radiance. Our child won't be like you, receiving the most elite training at a young age. I can already feel that he will be the #1 person in the pugilistic world. I say, you only have the baby in your eyes, you don't care about the big baby? Li Fan felt extremely unbalanced in his heart. My strength is also trained step by step. Moreover, Dragon Toad's ingestion of water is not an evil martial art. It has never been used on a good person. The root of your Dragon Toad's ingestion of water is the pure yang body. Murong Ying's eyes were indeed very sharp, and the pure yang body has absorbed 11 years of my true qi. Am I not a good person? You're not a good person to begin with. Li Fan, you might be itching for a beating. You see, who would be so violent? Li Fan immediately starts scolding. Right now you're practically a human-shaped Tyrannosaurus. But Murong Ying's 2 fingers jabbed over, as if breaking the air, emitting a crisp sound. Following that is a thivu sound, Li Fan moved sideways, his 2 fingers already jabbing into the leather seat behind him. Ayaya, look at your bad temper. What a waste of this leather seat. How much money is this squandering, squandering? If my mother were to know that she has such a squandering daughter-in-law, I reckon she would die. Such a good leather, such a pity. This is not something you should consider. Murong Ying stretched out 3 fingers. Now I want to set 3 rules with you. 3 rules? Li Fan was taken aback when he heard that. Why are they playing this game? That we are a couple, why do we need to set 3 rules? It seems so distant. First, in front of my father, you must listen to everything I say. If I don't let you do it, you must not do it. What the? She's already starting to talk. Li Fan can't help but want to ridicule, but seeing Murong Ying's serious look, he held it in. Second, no matter what my father says, you only need to agree verbally. Whatever you think in your heart is up to you. Then third, you're not allowed to be talkative. After explaining, Murong Ying reaches into the armrest and takes out a pair of very refined glasses. Chapter 178. What's wrong? Are you nearsighted? Li Fan could not help but ask. Although he did not have the so-called glasses fetish, but if Murong Ying wore glasses, perhaps she would have a different flavor. For example, Liao Wushuang, the beautiful teacher Liao. She wore a pair of black-rimmed glasses, looking cute and cultured, very good. However, Murong Ying's beauty was a kind of otherworldly beauty. If she used glasses, that kind of vulgar thing, on the contrary. It would be a bit shameful, tsk. Just as he was imagining things, Murong Ying poked him with her finger. Li Fan was startled and jolted awake. Fuck, what are you doing? Are you trying to murder your husband? Li Fan looked at Murong Ying's 2 fingers. This thing was a big killer. Aren't you a little too timid? Murong Ying could not help but roll her eyes. I won't really poke you to death. People make mistakes. Horses make mistakes. Li Fan said with lingering fear. Even a gun can misfire. My true qi is safer than a gun with a safety. Murong Ying was incomparably confident. Li Fan muttered in his heart, why doesn't this woman go to heaven? There's nothing absolute in this world. Don't be too confident. If you really poke me to death, where are you going to find such a good fiancé? It doesn't matter if you die, as long as your bloodline can be inherited. Murong Ying looked at Li Fan with a smile, making Li Fan lose his confidence. What are you laughing at? I may not have comprehensive knowledge in some aspects before, causing me to be a joke. But after I crammed some knowledge, I also know the conditions for pregnancy. Murong Ying's words made Li Fan feel a chill in his heart. He had a bad premonition. In order to be able to have outstanding descendants after you die, I once collected some of your chromosomes while you were asleep. What's that? Li Fan's bad premonition was finally confirmed. Fuck, if you want to collect semen, then collect semen. Why do you need to collect chromosomes? Who are you trying to pretend to be a scientist with? How did you collect them? Li Fan began to fantasize. Could it be Murong Ying? What a beast! How dare you do such a heartless thing while I'm sleeping? Hee, you think too much. Unexpectedly, Murong Ying didn't look embarrassed at all. I'm the leader of the martial arts world and the successor of the Murong family. How could I do that kind of thing? I asked Tai Zhu to help you get it out. Young miss. Tai Zhu shyly covered her face. Didn't we agree not to tell anyone? I'm so nervous. Fong my ass, drive properly. You only care about covering your face and don't look at the road ahead. Li Fan's heart really collapsed. He felt that he was no longer pure. He was ruthlessly tainted by Tai Zhu. Your chromosomes have already been frozen by me. Murong-ing seemed to be a little proud. Even if you die, I won't worry. Worry your sister. Li Fan felt something blocked in his heart. He couldn't recover for a long time. He was filled with despair about life. What should he do? Am I going to lose my first time just like that? Why do I have a faint feeling of wanting to cry? Don't be sad. Tai Zhu will be responsible for you. Murong Ying's words made Li Fan want to cry even more. Young master, it's also my first time. I'm so shy. Tai Zhu's words also made Li Fan collapse again. What the hell is this? Not good. It's really not good. But there was no way. Alright, it's useless to say anything else. Quickly put on the glasses and let me take a look. Murong-ing and Li Fan had been together for the past few months, and they had all sorts of confrontations. However, she also lost more than she won. After all, Li Fan's mouth was never forgiving. Forget it. I accept my fate. Li Fan sighed deeply. Then, he picked up the glasses and put it on the bridge of his nose. This was a pair of flat glasses without any prescription. After wearing it, he didn't feel dizzy. Murong-ing sized up Li Fan and then nodded in satisfaction. Not bad. You look more like a dog now. Fuck, how can you praise people like this? When did I say you were a human? Alright, I'm not a human. I'm a dog. Li Fan barked twice. Murong-ing nodded. If you say so, I won't refute you. I'm a dog and you're a dog wife. Wife, you don't have much to do. Let's see when we mate and have a bunch of puppies. Believe it or not, the next time I poke out your eyeballs. Murong-ing stretched out 2 fingers. On them, her super strong sword aura was condensed. Alright, pretend I didn't say anything. Li Fan shrugged. Under the pressure of power, he could only lay low for a while. Also, my father is a very traditional person. He probably came here today to pick a fight with them. Remember the 3 rules I made with you. Don't do anything bad. My father's strength is much stronger than mine. If he wants to deal with you, I can only give you a grand funeral. Fuck, it's just father-in-law coming. What's there to be afraid of? Li Fan threw caution to the wind. Father-in-law and son-in-law have been enemies since ancient times. What's there to be afraid of? At most, I'll be a good man again in 20 years. Why do you make it sound like you're going to die for justice? My father is not a Japanese spy. I might as well go back to the time of the War of Resistance. Li Fan raised his arms and shouted, at that time, I'll carry a gun and join the army. With my martial arts, I'll beat the Japanese until they cry for their parents. At that time, I'll also form an armed team to tear the Japanese apart. Do you think there weren't any experts at that time? Murong-ing reminded Li Fan. At that time, the Chinese experts were also dispatched. But there were also many experts from Japan. Both sides also fought a great battle. In the end, both sides suffered. After the surrender of Japan, we also signed a non-aggression treaty to prevent the deaths and injuries of the experts from both sides. But from then on, the 2 countries did not distinguish who was the orthodox in martial arts. Everyone said that they were the orthodox and that their martial arts were strong. Papa, I just had a fight with a guy named Yamada a few days ago. Yamada? Yamada Kazuo? When Murong-ing heard this, she was suddenly stunned. She looked at Li Fan. You fought with him? Yes. Li Fan nodded. This old guy's strength is a bit strong. He's at the peak. I thought the Japanese only knew how to cut their stomachs. About 3 years ago, I met him once. Murong-ing continued, although I defeated him, he also severely injured me. This Yamada Kazuo, a disciple of the Jin Gang, practiced the Jin Gang demon subduing force. I still have a deep impression of him. This person is very strong. You were lucky to be able to escape from him. I didn't escape. I killed him. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.